Shalom, all praises to Yahweh, Hashem, Yahushua, Bashem, Kodash, and double honors to the apostles and the elders of the great millstone. Start off with Ezekiel, one of my favorite ones that I always bring out.
Is Ezekiel chapter 2, verse 9. And when I looked, behold, and a hand was sent unto me, and lo, a roll of a book was therein. And he spread it before me, and it was written within and without, and there was written therein lamentations and mourning and woe.
Right, what he saw was prophecy. That's what Ezekiel saw. He saw prophecy that was written down, all right, that said what was going to happen to Israel, all right, because our ancestors back then were into idolatry, worshiping idols, all right, worshiping the sun, worshiping Semiramis and Tammuz, the gods of Moab and Ammon. All right, now read up to the third, well, finish that and then keep going to the third. Third chapter.
And this is Ezekiel 3:1. Moreover, he said unto me, Son of man, eat that thou findest, eat this roll, and go speak unto the house of Israel.
Yeah, eat the roll, meaning the prophecy that the Lord gave Ezekiel, eat that, and then go speak what you learned, what I told you to speak. All right, which was slavery and the destruction or the murder of our people, because they kept worshiping idols. All right, so before that happened, the Lord told Ezekiel to warn our ancestors, the Israelites, what was going to come to pass, what was going to happen to them if they didn't turn from their transgression, from violating the law, which is the first. Give me Ezekiel 20:1. Read.
Okay.
Not Ezekiel, Exodus.
It says, So I opened my mouth, and he caused me to eat that roll. And he said unto me, Son of man, cause thy belly to eat, and fill thy bowels with this roll that I give thee. Yep. Then did I eat it, and it was in my mouth as honey for sweetness.
Yeah, fill thy bowels, meaning it absorb everything that I'm telling you, all the whole word, not part of it, but the whole thing. What?
And he said unto me, Son of man, it says, Then did I eat it, and it was in my mouth as honey for sweetness. And he said unto me, Son of man, go get thee unto the house of Israel, and speak with my words unto them. For thou art not sent to a people of a strange speech and of a hard language, but to the house of Israel, right. Not to many people of a strange speech and of a hard language, whose words thou cannot understand. Surely had I sent thee to them, they would have hearkened unto thee.
What?
But the house of Israel will not hearken unto thee, for they will not hearken unto me. For all the house of Israel are impudent and hard-hearted.
Yeah, impudent and hard-hearted, like that silly old woman that was up here, probably in the late 50s or 60s. She looked like in the 60s, late 58. Something like that. She looked a little crazy and dizzy and simple, all right? So she couldn't receive it. She said she listened to probably Irish Kids, some dudes downtown, or she was just lying about that. She just wanted to come over and start a conversation and hope that we were going to speak to her, or she's a spy, probably a little bit of all of it. And they're not going to listen. They're impudent, meaning not easily, hard-headed, not easily managed. Impudent, right? So when we prophesy and we don't pretty much cater to, let's say, the status quo, what's commonly accepted in the system going on right now, then they're going to get mad at you because we speak into things that in the scriptures that are contrary to their beliefs. So we were getting punished. So read the law why we were getting punished.
20:1.
Yeah.
Exodus 20 verse 1. And the Most High spake all these words, saying, I am the Lord thy power, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage.
Make sure the stream is going smooth.
Thou shalt have no other gods before me. Thou shalt not make it unto thee any graven image, or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the waters under the earth.
Right, so don't set up gods that are false. Don't set up other gods beside the Lord. This is why Ezekiel was made a prophet to warn Israel about the coming slavery and destruction that was going to happen to them if they continue to worship idols. So, go ahead. 4? Yeah.
Verse 5. Verse 5. Verse 4. Thou shalt not make any, thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image.
Thou shalt not. Okay, so you can't rear up images or gods that are not the Most High. Go ahead.
Or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath.
Right, to worship. All right, go ahead.
Or that is in the water under the earth.
Go ahead.
Verse 5, thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them, for I, the Lord thy power am a jealous power, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children unto the third and fourth generation of them that hate me.
Right, visiting the iniquity upon the children. Okay, I mean that's referring to reincarnation upon the third and fourth generation. The Lord reincarnates your spirit every third and fourth generation. What?
Verse 6, ensuring mercy unto thousands of them that love me and keep my commandments.
Yeah, and showing mercy, meaning if you turn back from your transgression, from worshiping idols or transgressing the law in general, the Lord Yahweh is going to show mercy. And so much that he manifests his only begotten son, or his only son, Yahweh Shai, to take away the sins of Israel. Not the whole entire world, but the sins of Israel. When the Bible refers to the world, it's referring to the cosmos, which means a separate society, a constitution. Constitution, like when you look up the Spartan Constitution, is a set of laws, rules, and regulations that only the Spartans used. All right, and the word there is cosmos, or cosmon. All right.
Verse 7, thou shalt not take the name of the Lord thy power in vain, for the Lord will not hold him guiltless.
Yet thou shalt not take the Lord thy God thy name in vain. All right, meaning you're not supposed to make fun of the Lord's name. You're supposed to value the Lord's name, fear and seek the Lord's name. Right. Vain, I believe, means empty. Right.
For the Lord will not hold him guiltless that taketh his name in vain.
Yeah, so if you made fun of the Lord's name, or try to make the name as like a normal name, Yahweh, and his son's name Yahweh Shai, all right? He said he's not going to hold you guiltless. All right? So that means you're going to be punished. It's a price you're going to have to pay for slandering, blaspheming the Lord's name. All right? Is that it?
That's it.
You got another precept? If not, get Corinthians. Give me an example of the 11. No, Corinthians 10 says that we were Gentiles carried into the Dominicans. Our fathers were under the making two precepts. Find that we were Gentiles, and get all our fathers were under the cloud. All went through the Red Sea. We got two different precepts. What are we saying? I think it's Corinthians the 10th chapter.
I got it.
1 Corinthians 10 verse 1.
Yes, it. Yeah. What do you got?
Letter Jeremiah 1 and 5.
Hold that. Go ahead.
1 Corinthians 10 verse 1. Moreover, brethren, I would not that ye should be ignorant how that all our fathers were under the cloud and all passed through the sea.
Right, so you can't exclude any of the other tribes. All right, so all our fathers. All right, we all have a father from Jacob. Let's read it again.
1 Corinthians 10 verse 1. Moreover, brethren, I would not that ye should be ignorant how that all our fathers were under the cloud and all passed through the sea.
What?
Verse 2, and were all baptized unto Moses in the cloud and in the sea.
All right, so just because you were oppressed in another area, all right, and another tribe was oppressed in a different area, all right, under a different Edomite, it don't make you better than the next Israelite, all right, or worse off, all right. What?
Verse 3, and did all eat the same spiritual meat, and did all drink the same spiritual drink.
All right, the meat, okay, which is you did receive the law, all right, and we went through the ceremony of the Passover. All right, good.
For they that drank of that spiritual rock that followed them,
and the rock that followed them, and we drank of the waters, all right, that Moses broke from the rock. Good.
And that rock was Hamashiach.
Yes, so that the spirit that followed us, the chariot that followed us when we passed through the Red Sea and on our journey through the wilderness was Yahweh Shai. Right? But Yahweh Shai hadn't been manifest at that time yet. Not to Israel anyway, but to Moses. Moses knew. Good.
Verse 5, but with many of them the Heavenly Father was not well pleased, for they were overthrown in the wilderness.
Right, and that's the point. They were overthrown in the wilderness. They were overthrown in the wilderness because you had a group of Israelites that tried to overthrow the authority of Moses, and it was pretty much his family, the Levites, Moses and Aaron. Right? And I believe a hole opened up and swallowed them. Right? That was one event. Then other events, over 40 years, Israel all were killed. They were all killed by serpents and different diseases and stuff. They were killed. Right? And only Caleb and Joshua, the only ones that came out of Egypt, if I'm not mistaken, Caleb and Joshua were the only ones that went into the land of Canaan. Everybody else that died from diseases and I believe serpents.
Verse 6. Now these things were our examples to the intent we should not lust after evil things as they also lusted.
Right, that's a good example. That you can't serve, be in the faith and still have one foot in the world. It's going to be successful to a point where it pulls you away from the faith. All right, because remember we're pilgrims here, so we're going to might have houses and apartments and possessions, but at a moment's notice, just like when Peter and Andrew were fishing and the Lord commissioned them to come into the faith, at that point they just dropped the nets and went and followed the Lord. They were getting the fish to feed themselves and go sell in the market or whatever. So from that point on, the Lord provided, and they made a way to feed himself and his family.
Verse 7. Neither be ye idolaters, as were some of them, as it is written, the people sat down to eat and drink and rose up to play.
Right. Well, the other event, the golden calf, they built Aaron. He built the golden calf for Israel because he feared the congregation of Israel. He feared them because they thought that Moses died or whatever, or he was taken too long. Right? So they wanted to worship, and they decided to just make a calf, a golden calf, and that was idolatry. What?
Verse 8. Neither let us commit fornication, as some of them committed, and fell in one day 320,000.
320,000? That's stuff?
No, 320,000.
So that's a lot of people. Right? That's a lot. Right? Or the Lord just killed for idolatry. Right? Now imagine how many people the Lord gonna kill today when they 2/3 Israel in America anyway take the chip, because you got a bunch of Israelites, innumerable. We got a set number in Babylon, but overseas it's innumerable. It even shows you in the scriptures about a multitude that no man could number. There's a lot of Israelites scattered, in the world. Some of them of the elect, and some of them are going to be of the Israel that are not of Israel, that are going to take that implant, and that's idolatry. And the punishment for idolatry is you put to death. That's the death. So in the second death is going to be the nuclear fire. And that nuclear fire, the elect are going to be delivered from the nuclear fire. The elect are going to simultaneously go up into space. All right. While the hellfire is raining down on Babylon and various parts of the earth. Because you're going to have chariots throughout the whole earth too that are going to be shooting their fire. Like how Sodom and Gomorrah and the different cities, only one city was spared for Lot's and his family's sake. Right? You got the rest of the cities that were destroyed. Right? Like the fire that destroyed those cities, that's how America, Babylon's going to be destroyed. Right? There's going to be no mercy. Right? Go ahead.
Verse 9. Neither let us tempt Hamashiach, as some of them also tempted and were destroyed of serpents.
No, so you got others like that was destroyed of serpents, I mentioned before. Right? Now the serpents, there was a staff, I believe, that was built to cure any Israelite that was built that was bitten of the serpent. Right? What?
Verse 10. Neither murmur ye, as some of them also murmured and were destroyed of the destroyer.
Verse murmur, meaning saying little smart shit under their breath, as murmuring. Right?
Verse 11.
And they were destroyed. I told you, murmuring. So murmuring is wicked. That's evil. That's a sin.
Verse 11. Now all these things happen unto them for ensamples, and they are written for our admonition, upon whom the ends of the world are come.
Right? They were written for our admonition. Get Peter's where it says that out of the water and in the water. Let's put that in and come right up. Go ahead.
Verse 12. Wherefore let him that thinketh he standeth take heed lest he fall.
Yeah, let him that thinketh that he standeth lest he fall. So meaning be circumspect, examine yourself, make sure you're producing what you're supposed to produce. Right? And that your behavior is intact according to what we learn, what the will of the Lord is. Go ahead.
Verse 13. There hath no temptation taken you, but such as is common to man.
Yep.
But the Heavenly Father is faithful, who will not suffer you to be tempted above that ye are able.
Yeah. So we all have a set. We all have a set amount of strength. We got strengths. We got weaknesses, and the Lord knows that. So if we're of the elect, then every temptation is going to you're going to survive every temptation, right? Or you'll be able to recover every temptation that you ever go through. Right? So read it again. Verse.
Yeah, verse 13. There hath no temptation taken you, but such as is common to man.
Did all that shit for us.
But the Heavenly Father is faithful, who will not suffer you to be tempted above that ye are able, but will with the temptation also make a way to escape.
But also make a way to escape. All right. Yeah, because once you commit an act, that's unlawful, or it's a transgression, the Lord you learn from that. Right? So the Lord gonna set up a way for us to escape. Go ahead.
That ye may be able to bear it.
Go ahead.
Verse 14. Wherefore, my dearly beloved, flee from idolatry.
Yeah, and idolatry was a huge problem back then. You got especially with the Catholics. So we can say more so with the Catholics. That's more so. It's more in the front, and it's not. You don't gotta kind of decipher it. It's like right there with Catholicism. With the Baptists, Methodists, Seventh-day Adventists, they try to set up an argument about they're not idolaters, which they are. But with the Catholics, that's easy because they worship Mary. They say that's the mother of God. That's direct idolatry. Right? If the Lord was holy, that means his mother had to be a holy. But then they put it on a pedestal beyond which marriage should be put on, or any woman. Of course, we're all holy. The scriptures say about give me the saints in Psalms.
Yep.
Now hold that there. You got Peter's? Yeah.
This is 2 Peter's chapter 3, verse 5. It says, for this they willingly are ignorant of, that by the word of the Most High the heavens were of old, and the earth standing out of the water and in the water, whereby the world that then was, being overflowed with water, perished.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, before it was the business as usual. All right. Then the earth got flooded with water, and everything died that was on dry land. All right. Good.
It says, but the heavens and the earth, which are now by the same word, are kept in store, reserved unto fire against the day of judgment and perdition of ungodly men.
Yeah, and perdition. What does perdition mean? Destruction? I think perdition means destruction. Let's see, that's those. Apolia. Yep. Perishing, ruin, destruction. Yep. The destruction which consists of eternal misery in hell. All right, and that's Esau. All right, he gonna have eternal misery for a certain, but not perpetual. All right. They talk about that's that Greco-Roman hell shit they talk about when you're gonna burn forever, and it's never gonna stop. Esau, he gonna burn for at least 1,000 years, meaning he gonna be in hardcore slavery. That's gonna be his burning, all right? Because it's gonna be hot, all right? It's gonna be hot. It's gonna be hard. It's gonna be tiring. Not gonna be able to catch his breath. Gonna be on a quota. You're gonna be picking cotton. You're definitely gonna be picking linen, like the fine Egyptian. Like they say about the idolater and in Proverbs that laced his bed with fine tapestry. Yeah. So I mean, of Egypt, something roughly paraphrasing. So Esau gonna be picking that. Gonna be picking the best cotton. All right.
So all that.
Everything. Gonna be making oils.
Yep.
All right.
Breaking them down.
Getting the resin in the out the trees for the incense. We're gonna be on the farms. They're gonna be farm masters. We're gonna have the Hamites over there as taskmasters. All right, but they're gonna be in the fields all day, picking corn, all the grains. You saw me planting that. It's not gonna be machines like industrial machines. We might have like older, like ancient machines for them, but they ain't gonna be no high tech like kingdom of heaven technology where they're gonna be able to break the ground up automatically like a machine, like automated technology. They gonna be none of that. Esau gonna be working with his hands. It's gonna be hard. But we can easily have technology, like futuristic technology, to make it easy for them. They can just stand there and just push a button and say a word, and they can plow the whole earth open, and another machine come past it and put the seeds in the ground. That would be easy, and that wouldn't even be hell.
Right.
All Esau, like he a fucking employee, it's a regular employee. You got regular industrial equipment, you know. Esau going to suffer, and the other nations going to suffer too, but not as much as Esau. They all going to be in slavery, but the Edomites are going to be in hardcore bondage. All right, because you can say like the Philistines, they had us in captivity, meaning we had to pay tribute to them. Then every once in a while, you know, when we would rise up, then they would go to war. But we relatively had our own, like in the Book of Judges, we had our own space. You know, we had to give them a certain amount of money every week. So you have certain nations that are going to get treated similar to that, but they're going to be in total subjection to us. Now the Edomites, they're going to be in hardcore slavery. All right, they're going to be treated. We look in the Bible dictionary to tell you about the Edomites. Right? But they're going to be the only neighbor of the Israelites that will never receive forgiveness or mercy, roughly paraphrasing. All right?
And the only day they're going to be able to get rest is on the Sabbath.
Yeah, Sabbath, and go to sleep, man, so they can recover for the next day. You know?
Like,
unless they got,
looking for
unless
flex off.
it's going to be some technology, or they're going to have like a spirit on them, where they can just stay up all day. A lot of sci-fi, not a lot, but I remember this show I used to watch. They installed a chip in people's heads, so they would stay up and then keep working, because they had to get something done in a certain time. I think it was Kevin Stewart, not Farscape, Andromeda. Yeah, they installed a chip in their head, so they couldn't, they wouldn't fall asleep. All right. So who knows? All right, they could show them. They could stay up all day and work all day. All right? Then we tell them the rest they can rest, but they're gonna be working. All right. The Israelites, we're not gonna be doing any work whatsoever. No work. Not gonna be preparing anything unless it's your command as an Israelite. If it's your command to have something prepared by your wife or your children or your subordinates, then you can have that done. But otherwise, every Israelite is not going to have do any laborer's work whatsoever. Is more on that?
No.
Revelation 18, verse 6. Reward her even as she rewarded you, and double unto her double according to her works.
Yeah, double. So that's the difference. Right? It says that about the Edomites, that they're going to have the worst time in slavery. All right, they're going to be in the fields. I was explaining earlier how there's not going to be no technology for Esau, like automated technology, like to make it easy, like a machine that break the earth up, like in a big line, and then come behind it with another machine to put seeds down. It's going to be none of that. But Esau like doing it anyway. With the garden, they're like doing the gardens and all that, compost.
Yeah.
You know. So it's going. And what did they get? I think somebody was passing a message around about avocado short or something like that. From Mexico. Was it from Mexico? Yeah. So you're gonna have all manner of food gonna be in the kingdom. So Esau gonna be planting avocados, all sorts of melons, fruits, tomatoes, and remember these are gonna be vegetables and fruits that are gonna be like huge. They're not gonna be like the little ass avocado the size of this. You know. Going to be a huge avocado, so it's going to be they're going to be wearing back braces and They're gonna be hurt because one avocado or one watermelon gonna be huge.
Yeah,
Because this is gonna be because the Lord said, and where it say in Ezekiel, is that 34, where it says, I will do better to you than at your beginning. It's either 34, 38, 39, 35. I will do better to you than at your beginnings. All right, and we got, what about our beginnings? We got Solomon, David, and we got the Garden of Eden. All right, so the Lord said he's going to do better. Yes, you do that?
Read that. Revelation 18, verse 6. Reward her even as she rewarded you, and double unto her double according to her works. And the cup which she had filled to her double.
Fill to her double. All right. So the Lord said he's going to show them. So the Lord said he's going to do better to us than at our beginnings. All right. So the other nations, the Hamites, Ishmael, different tribes of Japheth, they're all going to be subject to the nation Israel. Right? And it's going to be, and the joint heirs to Israel are going to be the Israelite foreigners. Right? There's not going to be no damn heathens. The heathens are going to be in slavery. You got it?
Yeah. This is the book of Ezekiel chapter 36. And I'm gonna start at verse 8.
I believe that's the same chapter where it says at the point of my land to that name. But go ahead.
Oh yeah. Sorry, 7. It says, therefore thus said the Lord Yahweh, I have lifted up my hand. Surely the heathen that are about you, they shall bear their shame. But ye, O mountains of Israel, ye shall shoot forth your branches and yield.
It's going to be it's going to be shameful when the true God comes back, and they're going to put their idols down, because Allah don't exist. Allah is a demon, and on the earthly sense, he's just a damn a rock.
Yep.
Whatever the hell he's depicted as.
Can't answer.
Yeah, he can't speak. He's dumb.
Nothing, man. Yeah.
So they're going to bear that shame. They're going to bear the shame that they oppressed the nation of Israel, the biblical Israelites, so-called blacks, Latinos, Native Americans. Yep.
Con. And it says, and ye shall shoot forth your branches and yield your fruit to my people of Israel, for they are at hand to come.
Yeah, the land is going to yield that. All right. So right now, the land has to get external soil implanted. So basically, they just in the land of Israel right now, they just built pretty much a garden. They built the garden. All right. You got to bring in, like you build a garden in your front yard or your backyard. You got to buy soil from Home Depot or Lowe's or whatever, right? Or a small shop. And you bring soil in, because you got clay out there or whatever. If you got a front little yard in the city. But you got to bring in soil, you got to bring in seeds and plants that's already up. That's what they had to do in the land of Israel right now. All right. But in our kingdom, when the land is rejuvenated back by the Yahweh Shai's spiritual power, the whole earth is going to be rejuvenated. All right. The land is going to be prosperous. All right. Without the hand of a man to grow it initially. All right. Now you can arrange gardens the way you want it after it, but initially it's going to be fresh and untouched. All right. Like the Garden of Eden was originally. And it's going to be better than it was. And not our beginnings, as it's going to say.
Yep. For behold, I am for you, and I will turn unto you, and ye shall be tilled and sown. Yep. And I will multiply men upon you.
Yeah, so it is going to be tilled and it is going to be sown. All right. So on one part, the Lord is going to rejuvenate the earth, and it's going to be perfect. Trees, plants, animals. All right. But then on the other hand, you're going to have Edomites actually tilling the ground also. Right? Because when it's tilled, that means things are growing out of it. Right? But then you got Esau that's going to be working the fields too.
It says, and I will multiply men upon you, all the house of Israel, even all of it.
Yeah, as contrast to when the enemy came against the land, they burned villages down, burned cities down, cut the food supply off, water supply off. So now it's just explaining that it's going to be built back up. Right? Yep.
And the cities shall be inhabited, and the waste shall be builded. And I will multiply upon you man and beast, and they shall increase and bring fruit. Yep. And I will settle you after your old estates.
I will settle you after your old estates. This is how you know that the so-called little hats are not the people. All right, they're not the people. I will settle you after your old estates. So that's what during the time of Solomon and David. That's the best time, I believe. Yes, the best time we had in Israel during those two time frames. Back right along when Saul was coming in the power. All right. you were defeating the Philistines, defeating the different Canaanite nations. Well, yeah, Well, before that, you had Joshua that defeated most of the Canaanites. But then we fell off. But then the Lord raised Saul up. Then he wasn't a fit ruler. The Lord raised David up. David and Solomon. What?
Time. And will do better unto you than at your beginnings.
Yep, and that was the point. And I would do better. There's a lot there, but I would do better unto you than at your beginning. All right? Who's going to be maintaining that land? The Edomites. The Edomites and the other nations are going to be maintaining our land. They're going to be they're going to be the ones in the field, handling all the administrations for our maintenance as gods on earth. All right.
And ye shall know that I am Yahweh. Yeah, I will cause men to walk upon you, even my people Israel.
Yeah, I will cause men to walk upon you, meaning Yahweh Shai, but Yahweh going to cause men to walk upon you. Now, when the little hats went back into the land, they got in there through the British and the Americans. They brought them to the land, all right? And they were already there. They already had before 1948. They already had a foothold in there. I believe the British were already there. I believe I did a lesson on that a while ago. So they already had, during the time of the Declaration, they already had a Rothschild Boulevard. In 1948, they had a Rothschild Boulevard. So they already had a street with the so-called Jews' name on there before 1948, on the date of the Declaration. All right? So they were there. They probably were there for 10 years. They probably were there after World War II. Matter of fact, I think they were. After World War II, they stayed there. 'Cause I believe Hitler went into Egypt. That's when I think he was stealing the artifacts, defacing images in Egypt. All right. Hitler did a lot of iconoclasm too in Egypt to hide the fact that they weren't the real Aryans. The real Aryans, well, they were Iranians. That I believe Aryan means pure, right? But the real Aryans are really Israelites, right? We're the ones that are pure. Because the Persians, all right, they worship a different God that's not the true God that created the world, that created the universe, right? So you had Hitler defacing image. Well, Hitler himself even said that the real Jew is the Oriental Negro. The real Jew is the Oriental Negro. All right. He said that the little hat is a bastard. All right. We got the book. They're more than saying that. And it was a movie it was a German movie that depicted that. All right. So Esau always tells on himself. Esau told on himself the House of Rothschild. Do you think anybody besides the Little Hats could have produced that movie, The House of Rothschild? I told you that the mayor himself, Bauer, I believe, he set up the banks through his sons throughout Europe. You know, only the Little Hat would be able to get away with making a movie like that. Could no regular person make a movie like that, exposing that much? Esau, he's like fucking crazy. He tells on himself. All right. He actually produced a movie that said that the real Jew was the Oriental Negro. He produced a movie called The House of Rothschild. All right. So we get that. That sounds 64. I believe. Say that. Do that real quick.
Yeah.
But it's more than you say it right there.
During that Ron Patson and Mary Knox interview, he told on himself.
What did he say?
He said that basically they knew that they were the house of Esau.
See?
They knew that they were the house of Esau,
You might be crazy. Right?
but that they're using basically the false impression that they're the people of the Most High.
Somehow they believe they can be converted. That's an insane thing to think. You got to have a real cognitive dissonance,
Well, it says,
perfect compartmentalization to believe two contradictory facts at the same time.
remember
That's insane.
that's an example of his pride.
Yeah, that's
Example
crazy. Yeah,
of his
that's extreme pride. You know you were Edomite, but yet somehow you believe you can still somehow make it. Like all the demonic shit you've done throughout North, Central, and South America. All the demonic shit you've done. You turn tribes against each other. From the Mexicans, you turn them against each other. You got them arguing whether they Negro or Indio. You know, you ask a Mexican whether you look kind of Negro. They no, I'm Indians. You know. So so Esau, you're the reason you created all the demonic shit. Right? You got this dumbass colorism shit going on amongst Judah and the different tribes. Right? And Esau, he's responsible for it. He's responsible for the defacing of the images that were built. He's responsible for the destruction of the certain indigenous languages. All right? Esau likes to steal artifacts. All right? He likes to steal artifacts and then create other artifacts and replace them. You know, and change the way nose look, change the complexion. You know, Esau, he's a master deceiver. What does it say in Job? Covered face of the judges.
I just wanted to bring this excerpt out. This is the interview between Marion Knox and Ron Patton. It says, let me give you some background information. On one level, the Rothschilds secretly call themselves the House of David from the tribe of Judah. Now, Rothschild translated from the German to English mean red shield or raw shield, right? It says, during biblical times, the Edomites' fortress was the red rocks of Petra. So this just goes to show you that Esau knows where he comes from, even though he claims to be what he's not. You know, an Israelite from the tribe of Judah.
Get up where Petra is located at. Find out where Petra is.
So it says the Edomites' fortress was the red rocks of Petra. It says Esau, the twin brother of Jacob, was described as red and hairy, which that's not true. You know, they went off there.
They were maternal, not identical.
The comparison, when they say red and hairy, Esau didn't come out hairy. It came out hairy in likeness to a garment dyed. Okay? So it wasn't that he came out hairy, it's that he was being compared to a garment, okay? That was red all over, okay? Not that he was hairy.
Yeah, babies don't, especially Edomites, they born bald.
Right. Now, as he matured, obviously, one of the characteristics of Esau is he, you know, is a fucking looks very hairy, very, you know.
Yeah, babies don't typically have hair, especially Edomites.
Right.
They don't do that.
But anyway, it says it's described as red and hairy, so this information fits perfectly with what survivors have been telling me. It says that on a deeper level, the Rothschilds are also claiming to be descendants of Esau, and thus are really the house or tribe of Esau. It is what they're trying to do is to get the birthright back from the house of Jacob, who are the real Jews. However,
the birthright of the eldest son.
Right. See, and this is what it all goes back to, just trying to back the brother up. You know, this is why Esau's, you know, godlike complex and pride has caused him to do these things, because it's a pathetic effort to try to reclaim the blessing and the birthright back. Okay? So he's trying to reclaim something that was never really initially his. But it says that's why all these attempts are going to inevitably fail. You know, taking the land, our land to yourself. You know.
New world.
Yeah. You know, allowing these different doctrines to permeate throughout the world. You know, messing up our people's minds. And all the evil that you do around the world, it's not gonna continue. You know, it has an end. But it says that on a deeper level, the Rothschilds are also claiming to be descendants of Esau, which proves they know that they are Edomites, and thus are really from the house of the tribe. They have a house or tribe of Esau. They're trying to do is to get the birthright back from the house of Jacob. Now, the house of Jacob is what, the 12 tribes, right? So-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, right? And the scattered, you know, brothers, all right, and sisters throughout the world that will go back to one of these tribes, despite what they may look like or practice at this current time. It says, when I finish here, The house of Jacob who are the real Jews. However, the book of Obadiah talks about the destruction of the Edomites in the last days. Right? And they use a precept that we would use. It says, so this leads us to another interesting point. In Revelation 3:9, it says, behold, I will make them the synagogue of Satan, which is a twofold scripture because it's talking about wicked Israelites who are playing the part of the adversary, you know? Here it is, they're claiming to be Jews, right? But they're not following after the proper way of what it is to be an Israelite, right? And that would have been after the way of Yahweh Shai, who taught us faith. They're still trying to follow the traditions that were in vain, okay? That weren't being recognized by the Heavenly Father. This is why there was such a big, dispute, because they were still trying to follow their own way when they themselves were being hypocrites at the same time, you know? Yahweh Shai essentially was sent down to give us that grace, okay? A new way, because we couldn't keep the old way. That's the whole problem. But without going off too far, again it says that behold, I will make them the synagogue of Satan. Now that could be applied to the Edomite today, because he's the one calling himself a so-called Jew, right?
The sloppy conversion.
You're right.
Worship.
Right.
Worship of Satan.
And Salakia, I know we're trying to speak in code there. Salakia. The little hats, claiming to be something that they're not. And they worship in these wicked synagogues. They go to something that they call the Wailing Wall. They have all these, wicked demonic customs that have nothing to do with being Israelites.
And Messiah didn't come back yet.
Right.
Didn't come yet, according to them. He didn't come.
And again, the point is they're the synagogue of Satan, meaning they're the adversary, okay? And they're not who they claim to be. So, it says, which are Jews and are not, but do lie. And that does fit the Edomite today.
But you lie. Yeah.
Right. So that's pretty much it.
Yeah, because they claim to be the house of, to convert, to keep the laws and everything.
Right.
So.
And that's where Psalms, the 50th chapter comes in, right? But unto the wicked thou sayest, what hast thou to do to declare my statutes?
I thought I was all together since one of
Right. Seeing thou hatest an instruction and castest my words behind you.
Yeah, but that again, they had that ability to compartmentalize that and be two things at the same time.
Remember, they were given the
That's crazy.
advantage. They were given the advantage. It's written in the scriptures that basically he was given the opportunity to, loosely paraphrase, he was given the opportunity to do something with his rulership, and instead he did what? He did evil. He did wickedness. If I can find a scripture for come a little to me clear, I'll bring it out.
Yeah, Esau, he was given the blessing of the sword.
Right.
He's given the blessing of the technology and to the ability to use other nations like Israelites and Chinese, East Indians, and take their shit and adapt it to their own technology, all right? And use us as pretty much as tools to further their technology. All right? Esau, he's a very wise man, but we have a lot of inventions amongst our own people that we contributed to Esau's machine. Yeah. Now, is that on there?
That's it. Oh, that's what it is. Let favor be shown unto the wicked, yet he shall not learn righteousness. That's the scripture now. Well, there was a couple, but that's the main one I wanted. Let favor be shown to the wicked. So the Lord showed him the favor.
Right.
Essentially, he was brought into his kingdom. He was given a blessing. And how has he ruled? How has he governed the earth? What has he done in the time and where he's garnered all the resources? And he's got the power, all right, to make things happen. Okay?
Except about the bottomless pit.
And to judge the earth. Well, he's
Bottomless
done
pit.
nothing but unrighteousness.
Right.
And he sought after the ways of the serpent, which he's the physical counterpart of his father, the devil.
So you get most of his energy from all of his
Right.
power from him.
So he's not of the Most High. Hence, he's not set as a fit ruler, as we can clearly see. Current state of the affairs is in total chaos, man. Everything is suffering under this man's rulership.
Right. Yeah. And they fail to report the news. They only report part of the news. They not report about the Ukraine I'm talking about.
Right.
They're not reporting about the Nazis in Ukraine. That a lot of Ukrainians are on that part,
Right.
I guess eastern part of
Right.
super racist. You know,
Right.
they're not reporting that. The mainstream media is not reporting that. They just the unprovoked attack. You know,
Right. Yeah.
they keep saying they keep using
They call
that
them heroes.
that line, unprovoked attack.
Right. And information came out that actually, back in 2014, Ukraine was the ones that was actually showing aggression to Russian refugees. I think it was. This is really a form of retaliation, not an unprovoked form of aggression or whatever they're saying. You know.
And this is Psalm chapter 64, verse 8. So shall they make their own tongue to fall upon themselves. All that see them shall flee away, and all men shall fear and shall declare the work of the Most High, for they shall wisely consider of his doing.
Right. So why you think, like in the movies, like they used to do it anyway. I guess before the Watchmen, before that movie, when the final fight, the finale, with the bad guy fighting the good guy, and the bad guy about to defeat the good guy, the bad guy tells the good guy everything he did and why he did it. You know, so that's where they get that from. But on the movie The Watchmen, you know, I guess they weren't technically bad. You know, they already sent launched the missiles before. And during the conversation, they already launched the missiles. All right. So Esau, you gotta watch the movie to know what I'm talking about. They already, while they were in the midst of talking, they already had launched the missiles in the midst of hating, telling all this why he did it and for what reasons and all that, and then give the good guy the opportunity to stop it. Esau, before he does something, not everything, but many things, you know, they tell, they reveal it, or they have the insider leak the information. All right? So now we got an eye on him. So now, because you know of the internet, you know, it's hard for Esau to lie. The only thing they can do is keep, you know, pushing the narrative and ignoring, you know, just like certain discrimination going on in Ukraine. Right?
Right. It's part of a much larger agenda, anyways.
Yeah. You know, they want to keep NATO at a certain area, and they want to control, you know, the resources in the land. So that's the two main reasons I saw was oil, gas, and the controlling the pipelines and the controlling, you know, the advancement of NATO, because the different NATO and Russia and their allies are going to actually go to war in the future. So they got to keep their borders at a certain distance from each other. The technology, the missile technology at a certain distance. Because when Russia launches, which is Gog and Magog in the Bible, when they launch their missiles, the European countries are going to be the first countries that are going to be erased off the face of the earth. All those countries, Germany, Poland, Norway, Spain, Britain, France, Italy, they're going to be erased. Those are the first, before America, you know? Well, they're going to launch the other way.
Right.
Yeah, they're going to launch the other way. Yeah, I don't know where...
Right, because those that are once at peace,
Yeah.
okay, with America are going to turn against America.
Yeah, those are the men of that Confederacy. Yeah. That the sea being brought to the border. It's Obadiah the first chapter. So Russia, I'm sure they got missiles on their eastern side and they got missiles on their western side. So I guess California, Washington State, they're going to be first states is going to get incinerated, and then it's going to fall throughout. And that has to be, well, the Lord controls the army anyway.
That's right.
So even if the Russians are trying to destroy like Washington, D.C., Los Angeles, Florida, certain strategic military bases, they're not really in control of the nuclear fire. The Lord is, tells you that in Joel, I believe. Right? What did I say to you?
Revelation 20.
Yeah, Bible's pit.
It's book of Revelation chapter 20 and verse 1. It says, and I saw an angel
Did
come.
double onto them?
John. And I saw an angel come down from heaven, having the key of the bottomless pit and a great chain in his hand.
Good.
And he laid hold on the dragon, that old serpent, which is the devil and Satan, and bound him 1,000 years.
All right, so the bottomless pit is Europe. All right, that was the point. The bottomless pit is Europe. All right, so when you look, the reason why, well, one of the reasons why was because of prophecy that the Edomites came over to the New World because they lacked mineral resources. This is why they get, I believe, 30% of their gas
Yeah, 'cause
from
we,
Russia. All right? This is why
That's the world market share we talk.
Britain,
Dude that
France, all those European
he was
countries
talking
are
to
in
me
Africa
the other
and
day,
China
I'll show you. Look
because
like rat news.
of rare earth
Rat
metals,
news. Yes, yes.
oil, and gas. Because Europe doesn't have, they have very little. It's finite. It's like 1%. Probably not even that of minerals and oil and gas that they actually take out of their own ground from their countries, from Britain and France and Poland. They get most of their stuff imported. All right, from Saudi Arabia, Iran, and Russia. Through cargo ships and the pipelines they got set up coming from Russia. So that's why they came out. They get new lands, fresh soil, slaves, so they could take back to Europe. All right? And during that time, late 1400s, you already had a lot of Israelites already had died that were in power. So you only had small pockets of Israelite families that were ruling in Europe at the time. Because you look at that with the icons, all right, the Russian icons, all right, Greek icons, all right, even King James himself, they were all men of color, all right. Whether they were fully Negro looking or they had Edomite mothers, all right, or Japhite mothers, whatever. But their father's line were Israelites, all right. So Esau came over to the New World to steal the resources. So we read earlier about the double unto her, all right, double unto her, meaning that they're going to receive double the punishment, all right, double the punishment, all right. It's not going to be a light affliction. All right, so we Isaiah would ask me.
Isaiah 22 and 18. He will surely violently turn and toss thee like a ball into a large country. There shalt thou die, and there the chariots of thy glory shall be the shame of thy Lord's house.
All right, so that was here in the New World, right? Like a ball into a large country, all right? And this large country is America, right? Which is spiritually Sodom and Egypt, right? Which is spiritually Babylon, right? Which is spiritually the new Rome, right? What was it there? Go back to that. Yep. Matter of fact, go to 18. 18.
18. Okay. It's Revelation chapter 18. Any part? You want?
1.
Yeah, 18:1. It says, and after these things I saw another angel come down from heaven, having great power, and the earth was lighted with his glory.
Yep.
And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the Great is fallen, and is become the habitations of devils, in the hold of every foul spirit, in a cage of every unclean and hateful bird.
All right. So Babylon is the country of America. All right. That's what Babylon is. All right. It's not referring to ancient Babylon. It's referring to the new Babylon. All right. When you look up in the book of Revelation and you look up in Jeremiah, I believe 49 and 50, 51, it tells you about Babylon. All right. See?
Yep. For all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication.
Right. So it can't be talking about ancient Babylon. Just on that verse right there. Because ancient Babylon didn't have, I should not say ancient Babylon, but the modern day Babylon now, that would be in Iraq, they didn't have influence all over the world, even ancient Babylon too. But they say that it's talking about Babylon over there in Iraq. It's not talking about Babylon over there in Iraq. It's talking about new Babylon. Say again?
But so far. Because their empire only stretched but so far.
Yeah, their influence. Their empire didn't stretch all over the world. They didn't have the ancient Babylonians and the modern, say Babylonians, that were, or the modern Iraqis. They're actually Arabs. They're not even. They're not Persian or Assyrian or Babylon or Canaanite. Or not Canaanite or Cushites. Right? They're Arabs. The modern Iraqis, all right? So they can't be talking about ancient Babylon back in the ancient world or modern day Iraq, all right? I was referring to a new Babylon, all right?
Yeah.
The horror Babylon, as spoken in the book of Revelation. Because it said, read that part again.
It says, for all nations have drunk of the wine of
Right.
her fornication.
Right. For all nations have drunk of the wine of her fornication. Right. So I mean, this new Babylon has influence all over the whole world. Right. They have what? Let's say the example: military bases all over the world. They spread the democracy. They say they're protecting democracy. And Ukraine not even a democracy. What proves that is they overthrew the democratically elected president in 2014.
In Ukraine?
Yeah, so they're not even a democracy. Why do you think they can't even join NATO? Well, they couldn't join NATO anyway because Russia wouldn't allow it. But they're not even being considered, if I'm not mistaken, to be a NATO member. Because, well, see, America's so damn corrupt and double-tongued, you know? In America, I think they kind of want Ukraine to stay like a nation, kind of what it is right now anyway. They don't want it to be a democracy. Because if it was a real democracy, they wouldn't have allowed, they wouldn't have backed the overthrowing of the original president from 2014. But they backed that, the United States and different European powers backed that overthrow of that president, and they installed a puppet, which used to be an actor, by the way. He was an actor. He pretended to be the president. He was like an action hero or whatever. He played one. All right, and then somebody got to him, and so you can pretend to be a president for real now. So he's an actor. He's just acting. All right. Look.
And it says, and the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her, and the merchants of the earth have waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies.
Right, so that can't be talking about the Vatican, modern day Rome, ancient Babylon. It says that the kings of the earth, they all wax rich, right? Through the abundance of her delicacies. Right? So by selling to America, those nations got rich. Right, by using their services, right, the war machine, going against North, Central, South American natives, right, going against the different Middle Eastern nations, to steal their resources, control those people. That's how the nations got rich. The oil from Saudi Arabia, oil in Iran, that's how the nations got rich, right, by creating the industry, right. Because before that, there was no such thing as the oil industry. You only had small, let's say, veins that naturally came out of the earth of oil. But they didn't have machines to extract those veins, that natural vein that would spew out the earth. But the oil, we already knew about like oil already. Oil already, like the petroleum, that already exists. It's not something like that's new. I believe they had it in Greece. They had it in Mediterranean areas. I believe they showed you that on the movie Immortals. Was it Immortals or was it? It might have been another Greek mythology movie. But there was a scene. It was a ship. They got.
When Poseidon, so-called Poseidon came down.
Yeah, and they got washed ashore. And they were covered in oil.
And they were all covered in oil.
Yeah,
that was in the movie Immortals.
That wasn't.
It was in the movie Immortals.
Okay, yeah. So what Esau did was he exploited that. Yeah. All right. So they got their big minds together and said, you know what, it's probably this can be burned, and they started to estimate that it had to be huge pockets of that stuff down there, and they started got machines together, started sucking it out the earth, and they refined it into different stuff. Yeah. So Esau already knew about that. So and then it said they got rich. That's how they got rich. They created industries. Yeah. All right. They created industry, petroleum industry. Yeah, appreciate that.
This is Ezekiel 28:5.
Yep, perfect.
By thy great wisdom and by thy traffic hast thou increased thy riches.
Right, so they basically, that's what Esau is good at. He's good at creating bureaucracy, creating industries. All right, they did this before and making money off of it. All right, like you can't see, they'll create glasses. All right, the automobile, you know, they created that. They replaced the horse and buggy. Right? Esau is good at that. The movie industry, creating the picture, the camera, and then they creating the moving picture. They created different elements, or by mixing chemicals together on elements, they found out that if you let light on to that element, the image would be stuck on to that material. All right, and they did that through the different experiments and adding different chemicals to different elements. All right, 10,000, 20,000 times until they got it right. All right. That's why I said wiser than Daniel. Right? Because you keep doing those experiments, That's how you figure it out. So they figured out that a certain material, with certain chemicals on it, with a certain amount of light, the light will stick to that material. And then from the picture, it evolved into a motion picture. It was basically different frames of that same process over and over again. Up to 1,000. The like slow motion cameras they got, the real expensive cameras, like 1,000 images per second to capture high def slow motion pictures. But it all evolved from that initial picture, that one picture thing. Right? And he had to do that 10,000, 20,000 times, doing the same experiment with different type of chemicals and earth elements. And he got that. I believe it was written that Thomas Edison did experiments over 10,000 times just to perfect one project that he's working on. Right? It's persistent. Well, and Edison is known as the greatest inventor that ever lived. That's what they say. Edison is the greatest inventor. Right? And that's something that America produced. Right? And that adds to Esau's pride. Right? Read that again.
This is Ezekiel 28:5. By thy great wisdom and by thy traffic hast thou increased thy riches, and thy heart is lifted up because of thy riches.
And their heart is lifted up because of thy riches. Right? And that's the blessing that was given to Esau in Genesis 27th chapter. Right? And their heart is lifted up. Is it?
Oh, God. Oh, back to the Revelation?
Yeah, do you have another one besides Revelation?
No.
No matter fact, hold that.
Yep.
What you see?
James 5 verse 1. Go to now, ye rich men, weep and howl for your miseries that shall come upon you.
Right, and remember, Esau has his technology. You know, some of it he created, some of it he stole, some of it he built on top of some knowledge that either we created or another nation created. But it's his, all right? Because our kingdom is going to be 10 billion times better than his kingdom. All his technology is going to be nothing in comparison to the blessing that we're going to receive. All right? Whatever his microprocessors, all right, his oil refinery machines, his technology in his cars, the luxury in these cars, all right, it's going to be nothing compared to what we're going to receive in the kingdom. All right, so he can have all this technology. He can lie about it. All right? Well,
Verse 2, your riches are corrupted and your garments are moth-eaten.
yeah, so though it might be great technology, all right, in the fact that it can get work done faster, all right, but it's corrupt because some of it destroys the earth. All right, some of it you got to exploit people to continually make it, like the iPhones. How much did somebody looked at how much the iPhone how much the iPhone actually costs to produce in China?
Oh yeah, I
Huh?
think it's like a third.
A third of what they sell it for? Yeah, so maybe what, $200 maybe? And they cost actually produce it, and they sell it for $1,300, $1,200. You know, and then the people, they work in sweatshops. Right? The circuit they got in China to produce our goods, where they, I think it was a documentary on that. And we were in Walmart where they live amongst where they work. They got to pay the rent, then they got to pay for food, they got to pay other fees. So by the time you're done, you got like 20% of your money left. But everything else went back to the company that you work for. Well, a lot of employers do that too. They offer you discounts and everything at stores. So you spend at the store. So basically what Esau does, he has a monopoly on the different products. All right, you own one company. You own say a car manufacturer, a car plant. Then your cousin owns a tire shop. Then your tire manufacturing. Then your other cousin owns a aluminum fabrication company. Then your other cousin or brother owns a copper mine. Then the other brother owns a company that produces microchips. The other brother owns a company that produces plastics. So that means they're getting all the damn money. So really, the money's going in the big ass circle, where they just keep getting more power, more earth metals, earth resources, and you're just getting poorer and poorer and poorer. So it's basically a big ass fucking circle of their money that's trading hands. Right? That's how much Esau. That's why we know that the Edomites in the West control the world. America and the different European powers, they control the world just because of that system.
Right.
I know you got the Russians, they have their little system. The Chinese have their system, but when including the banking system, the international banking system, is controlled by Edomites in the West, and America and the different European powers. So all that together, that's how we know that Esau controls the world.
Yeah, if you create anything that's even a little bit of a like a rival against a major company,
It's still a drop in the bucket compared to the monopoly they already got.
yeah. But what they'll do is they'll buy it out. You know,
Right,
that's why like the Google, Google got so popular. Everything's owned by basically Google now. You know, like Google bought everything up. So the moment you have something, Google's owned by YouTube, right? Like all these different sub companies that might have started with something. Was that?
That's the parent company.
Yeah. Google made a parent company called Alphabet.
Right. So you can see how like I think it was like Jet.com, right? So Jet.com was a company that was kind of going in on the online marketing. Walmart ended up buying them out because they wanted to try to get into the the e-commerce side and the .com side. But like it was Jet.com started as a small little business, but you have these bigger companies that will buy out that little company to either destroy the company or to just kind of grow their own company. But that way they can kind of keep everybody, like in that same circle.
Yeah, like Disney.
Oh yeah.
Disney, they own a lot of companies.
Yep.
They own 20th Century Fox.
Yep.
Right. So
Yeah, that's called a conglomerate.
yeah. So wait a minute. You got and the Fox supposed to be Republicans, right? Right.
Yeah,
Fox
well,
is-
they lean more towards that
Towards the right.
towards that side. Yeah.
Right, but
Yeah.
they owned by Disney
Right.
though.
Right.
Disney's more of a left kind of thing, right? Everybody's equal, you can be. So wait a minute, they own both companies, and nobody
right.
sees how weird that is. They own the left and the right. Disney.
That's like when you go into the grocery store and you're shopping for whatever goods you're buying. You think that these different goods are made by different companies, and they're only made by about a handful. Are making all your goods. Procter and Gamble. They're making multiple products like Gillette. You think Gillette is its own company? No, they're owned by Procter and Gamble, which doesn't just make hygiene products and stuff like that. They're in all types of different markets. Yeah, they're on types. They're types of all markets.
It's like Kirkland at Walmart.
Come again?
Kirkland at Walmart. Everything is Kirkland. The water, the deodorants and stuff.
Right. Yeah, I mean, you go into the store and you think you have what is called a variety,
It's an illusion.
but it's an illusion of variety because it's all owned by the same companies. Whether they're a subsidiary or not, or not. It all goes back to a parent company.
Yeah, like Gatorade owned by.
Yeah, that's what I say. Yeah.
Yeah, Procter & Gamble, they're the only one to make a
I
soft
know it's
salad.
like McDonald's.
That's why the only reason I even still support that damn company.
All right.
They make a soft salad
That's
that I
it.
like.
Exclusive. Kind of
Yeah,
deal.
Coca-Cola,
Pepsi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Coca-Cola is another one. They have all their different products that they have.
The bottling company, yeah. The bottling.
They bottle. What's that? Is it the
Powerade, right?
Is it Dasani?
Yeah, the sign. They do the sign.
Because I know Pepsi does their own water, which is Aquafina, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Well, Aquafina. And the brother can check that. But anyway, we're just making the point,
Yeah.
You want to get into the specifics, you got to do your own research, but it's just making the point.
Right. You should be offended.
Yeah.
Especially with the Disney thing. Hey, wait a minute. So I would think that Fox would change their stance on who they support. They'd be more like CNN or MSNBC or something like that, But no, they're still keeping their same stances. They're more right-leaning, more conservative. But they kept it. They kept their same stance, but they're owned by Disney.
Right.
But again, people are asleep. This is how you know that most people are under a spell. Right?
Well, that's Esau's media is his witchcraft.
Yeah, that's a witchcraft.
Yeah,
right?
media goes back to medium, which means to convey spiritual messages.
Yes.
In this particular case, it's on the left hand. It's to enchant you. It's a believing a certain way or believing in a certain thing.
You got people arguing.
Right.
Like, I hate
And
this
then your
guy, I hate this
ideal,
station,
hold
I
on,
hate
and
this
then the
station.
ideals, brother, they're getting are coming from the same folks and telling you two different things.
They need two horns like a lamb. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I mean, yeah, you got people arguing how they hate Fox News. They
Right.
hate Fox. They hate this.
Hate Tucker
this show.
Carlson.
They hate Tucker Carlson. You got people out, and then you got the Republicans coming along. I hate CNN.
Right.
Hate MSNBC. They too damn liberal. But Disney owns both fucking sides.
Right.
Come on.
Yeah.
And then Microsoft, that's what MS stand for in NBC. Microsoft, they own the technology that got in that network online.
Right.
And then they told this lie about when they first, I heard this anyway, that Microsoft just wanted to see if they could had the hardware to do it, the technology to actually create a broadcasting system. It sounds stupid as hell. Of course you do. You know?
Right, and a lot of these major news outlets are actually getting funding by pharmaceutical companies. They share board members.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's a conflict of interest,
gosh.
and it's supposed to be illegal in
So,
certain instances. That's supposed to be
If
illegal.
you're wondering why around the clock they kept pushing those different, whichever
Want everybody
ones.
jabbed.
Yeah, right.
They on them.
It's better to have everybody jabbed. I recommend everybody take the van for
Right.
a shot.
Remember, it tells you that this news broadcast is brought to you by, and then they run their advertisement by, whichever said experimental poison that they, is funding that news network.
Yep. Pfizer, Johnson & Johnson.
Yeah, I was trying to stay away from that, but yeah.
They fund it.
Yep, AstraZeneca.
Yeah, but they make a lot of products. So,
Right.
They don't just make
That's
new
true.
stuff. They
But,
make- before this stuff, they made everything else besides this new stuff. Yeah. You saw
I'm
it,
just
right?
trying to get better at using code words.
Yeah, I picked up some package from Pfizer, from New York, upstate. Yeah, we sent out there, whatever. A couple months ago. Yeah. And they're a very wicked, evil company. All right, and they lie about what's good for you.
Right.
When you look at a lot of these drug companies, remember they always have the commercials that said with all the side effects.
Yes, that's
Sometimes
right.
Davey had commercials where they talk real fast.
Right.
Right? Then one commercial they say may cause death. Like once you hear that, I mean you should kind of like be weary about may cause death is one of the symptoms, or one of the side effects, which is not a side effect. It's a direct effect.
Right. Or the very thing that you're trying to cure is a side effect of the medicine that you take. So in other words, it exacerbates the problem, right? It makes it worse. How the hell are you gonna take something that's gonna make this shit that you're trying to fix worse? Come on, man.
So you just got a lot to pay for.
That's a devil. That's a serpent for you.
Yeah, CD cancel the wicked. Can you get that?
Yep.
Psalm 64.
Yeah, it's the book of Psalms, chapter 64, and verse
It's a,
1.
Well, matter of fact, I was referring to why the heathen rage and people rather than anything. But read that. Read that again.
Okay, so Psalm 64, 1, it says,
I think we read that.
"Hear my voice, O power, in my prayer, preserve my life from the fear of the enemy."
yeah, we just gave you examples for why we need the protection of Yakalba Page. We're under attack on all sides. If it wasn't for the mercy and grace of the Lord, man, we'd be falling, right along with the rest of the world into these different forms of deception. Whether it's to get a jab, or believing in this philosophy, believing in this policy or form of politics. But it's really through the mercy of the Lord that He's got us protected from all these things. And we went into the foods a little bit, and the thing of it is, a lot of the things that we're eating isn't even food anymore. It's a byproduct of something that exists, but it ain't its true form. Okay? It's all been adulterated with chemicals and preservatives and experimentation.
Yeah, they use fertilizer, which comes from petroleum. So, I mean, there'll be side effects of that too that we can't even quantify.
I think brother mentioned deodorants. A lot of deodorants, if you're not careful, they got fucking aluminum in there.
Yeah, I think all of them have. They have a certain amount.
So your body constantly fucking, absorbing metals.
Right, yeah. Disproportionately.
Right.
Not in a dose where we wouldn't normally encounter.
Right. That's where you're getting all your health complications. That is your diet. And it's a lot of this we're doing inadvertently. We're not doing it on purpose. But this is a direct result of the devil ruling. So read that, or continue to read.
It says, and hide me from the secret counsel of the wicked, from the insurrection of the workers of iniquity.
Insurrection. And insurrection means what?
Going into that, what, uprising?
Insurrection, the workers of iniquity. It sounds like you mean to cut off.
Going into insurrection, regash in the Hebrew, which is going into a scheming,
Scheme, a
like
plan.
kind of like, you know, breathing together like a conspiracy. You know, men, you know, with something that they want to do to, you know, the people.
Actually, if you go further into that word, I think it does say that. I think it says conspire.
It said company, tumultuous crowd. This is in blue letter. Insurrection, and then I could try to go into it.
Is there a root for that?
Yeah, root regash again, which is to conspire or plot.
There you go. See now,
Right.
this is why it gets
Or
interesting
rage.
in the spirit, because they always be calling us. Well, there it is. All right, we're not conspiracy theorists. All right, there is an actual conspiracy. The secret counsel of the wicked is in of itself a factual conspiracy.
Right.
All right, yeah, with Esau leading the charge. You got the Edomites on a high level getting together to perform their different enterprises and agendas. In this particular case, it's you know, New World Order, you know, and its counterparts. You know, making the people sick, making them slaves, you know, forcing them to, you know, prescribe to his rulership on a permanent level, on a permanent basis. That's what they basically trying to set up to do.
Yeah.
You know, with the controlling the resources, the controlling the beliefs and the politics, he's trying to set himself as a permanent God on the earth that everybody has to abide on.
Yeah, that's why in all the sci-fi, post-apocalyptic movies, you know, there's always a totalitarian
Right.
government controlling everything.
Right.
You restricted, your movements restricted. You gotta have some type of chip or some kind of code on your arm or a badge to get moving to a certain area or a certain city. Because they keep repeating that same theme all over and over.
That's right. That's right.
That's why look. Maze Runner, that's one. Terminator 2.
We're gonna read a quick definition on the word totalitarian. Okay, it's totalitarian, of or relating to, being or imposing a form of government, as we mentioned, NWO, one world government, right? Secret counsel of the wicked, which is a conspiracy, okay, but a conspiracy fact. Right. It's something that he actually wants to do. As a matter of fact, if you continue to read further in that Marion Knox interview with Ron Patton, he tells you that. That's the whole reason why they're trying to reclaim what? The blessing. To do what?
Yeah.
To rule.
Yep. Totally rule.
Totally rule. As we read on, it says, with government in which the political authority exercises absolute and centralized control over all aspects of life.
Yep.
The individual is subordinate to the state. And it says,
Centralized control.
Right.
Meaning not a conglomerate, like a bunch of different nations get to vote and
Right.
okay, like the UN supposedly.
Exactly.
You know, NATO, they got to kind of vote to go to war and all that. But
Right.
now it's going to be a central. It's going to be one body that's
Right.
going to make the rules.
Right. That's right. It says centralized control over all aspects of life. The individual is subordinated to the state.
Individual is subordinate to the state. Okay, so the person. So the whole life of the person is controlled by the state.
That's right.
So whether your movement, what you purchase,
Right.
is monitored. You know, it's monitored and it's logged, so you know what it is.
And we've seen that in this scandemic.
Yeah.
When they put the contact tracing on your phone without your permission,
Yeah.
when they're forcing you to mask up and all these other things,
Yeah, even
you were subordinated to the state.
Yeah,
Because they were the ones that were handing down these regulations based upon what the CDC was saying.
Right.
Which
They get the orders from the elite.
which the CDC is they're not your president.
Ooh, that's bureaucracy.
That's a bureaucracy. Exactly, brother. That's a bureaucracy.
They even my smart lighting system. They have different templates you can put. They even put Ukraine lighting scheme in there, yellow and blue and white. That's one of the features now.
Wow. They updated it.
Yeah, I guess when I updated it, they included that's one of the lighting schemes.
See,
now,
man?
for
That's-
Ukraine color.
And that's the internet of things, bro. Where everything linked in, where they can garner total control at will. Finishing off, it says, an opposing political and cultural expression is suppressed.
Like the dude in Ukraine was doing.
They're squashing anything that is in opposition to any narratives that they're pushing or any goal that they're intended to achieve. They're not having it.
Yeah, yeah, like Ukraine was doing. I heard he was suppressing his political rivals.
Right.
He arrested his political rivals that was talking.
Well,
that was
shit.
talking about it.
What they do to RT?
Yeah, they shut America down. American branch of RT down
They said not.
permanently. They said permanently.
Right. They're not gonna have an opinion on our platform.
And I think it's banned. RT, Sputnik, and RT is banned in Europe, I think, or certain European countries.
We'll have
I
to
know
look.
it's
I'm
banned.
not
in Ukraine.
exactly sure, but
Yeah, they banned. Yeah, I believe they banned Sputnik and RT from Ukraine and certain parts of Europe.
So there's your examples. The secret counsel of the wicked, and the root word was Ragash, which went into conspire.
Yeah.
So it is a conspiracy. Okay.
So breathing together.
So for any of you, you know, in opposition to what we're saying, there's your proof if you needed it. You know? Go ahead. Continue to read out.
Yep.
Read the precept again.
Free?
No, read the precept again.
Oh, slide. This Psalm 64:2. It says, "Hide me from the secret counsel of the wicked, from the insurrection of the workers of iniquity."
Or the conspiracy
Right.
of the workers of iniquity. The workers of iniquity are the Edomites.
That's
The
right.
ones that call them the bankers because
Right.
that's their main thing how they make money.
That's right. That's how they've really basically been able to, by their influence, and control and manipulate. You know, through the IMF.
Federal Reserve.
Yep, Federal Reserve. And
They
through the
own
IMF,
both.
those
They
are the
own
ones
both.
that they use to basically loan out money and then eventually destroy that nation through it. Through putting them in debt. You know?
Yeah, the IMF. Yeah, that would be international money lenders.
That right.
And the Federal Reserve would be American money lenders.
That's right. That's right.
The American branch of the money lenders.
Yeah, but that, remember, because we talked about the Rothschilds briefly, speaking on Amschel Bauer, you know, when you mention him, you have to mention what he said, you know, one of the notorious things he said, which was, give me control over a nation's money and I care who makes its laws. Because he understood that if you got the nation's money, then you can influence the laws. You can influence the policies and the minds of the people. You know, that's why there's that saying that, you know, what rules everything is that almighty dollar. You know, everybody is, you know, chasing after that money.
Yeah, it says for love of money is the root of all evil.
That's right. That's right.
So Esau actually loves money. We just use it as a tool in the
Right.
medium of exchange.
That's a medium of exchange, right?
Yeah, but Esau, he actually loves it. And so much that he'll murder and kill for, that's how he loves money so much, that's why he murdered and killed the natives here in America.
Well, I had that.
When you look up the
That's
all of the beautiful sights in America, like the waterfalls,
I got to eat the
all the water
I
and
got
lakes
something real quick.
and pools and swamps and everything, Esau fought
Just real
hard for
quick.
that.
Yeah, this is Sirach chapter 10, verse 8. Because of unrighteous dealings, injuries, and riches got by deceit.
Yep, and that's land, okay, land, which is minerals.
Right? He
You know.
stole the gold by putting in place a fiat currency.
Yeah.
Right? He took out the intrinsic value of what used to be the dollar, because you had
Fake money. He stole the real money and made it fake.
right, because you had silverbacks, okay, which was basically currency that lets you know how much silver that note was worth. Okay, it actually had a backing. Same thing with the gold. But they signed that out. All right, out of commission. And what you were given was a fiat currency, was basically backed by nothing. Hence fiat, which means let it be so. Basically, they said it was now the new medium of exchange. You weren't using gold and silver no more. You weren't using precious resources. Now, can you still use this fiat currency, right? Because it has an assumed value, has an assumed worth, so therefore you can still exchange it for goods.
Yeah. So long as people accept it, it's only
as long
worth
as it's been accepted.
Yeah, it's only worth as much as people accept it.
Exactly, because it has an assumed value. But remember, they're diminishing the dollar. Hence all this hyperinflation we see going on. Because there's coming a time where then there's not gonna, nobody gonna be accepting gold or silver or fiat currency or anything. Those are the times that we're coming into.
Well,
anyway,
because it says they're going to institute a mark that's going to replace your dollar and gold and silver.
right, right,
It's going to be another electric mark.
right, right.
Chip.
Because of unrighteous dealings, is money system, right? That's an unrighteous dealing, bro. Took away all the gold, the silver. You stole all the resources from yourself, whether from another nation or you abused the earth and extracting it, not giving the earth any rest. It's unrighteous. Taking lands that didn't belong to you from our people, from the natives, from the other nations, removing landmarks, right? Because of unrighteous dealings, injuries, and riches got by deceit, the kingdom is translated from one people to another, and we've seen a transition of power as we speak. But that's all. I just wanted to make that quick point.
And you got by deceit.
Riches gotten by deceit.
So he came here to North Central South America and just set up shop, and then pushed the people, the original inhabitants out, which are Israelites. All right, we're still here. All right. Esau was so powerful, why he couldn't kill us all. He's going to kill a certain amount of us and put us in slavery. So Esau ain't that damn. His power is dwindling because he's so damn powerful. Which he's pretty powerful. Why can't he go to war with Russia? He can't do that yet because he's bound. He can't do it. He can't go to war with Russia until the proper time. So he's bound. He can't do it. He can't set the missiles up where he wants to set the missiles up because he's bound.
Right.
And so Esau, he's losing his power. He's going down. Then the Russians are eventually going to shoot their missiles on NATO in America. But right now, they directly said we can't take any action that has set us in direct conflict with Russia. He said that out of his own mouth. The big bad NATO in America said that. Can't do any action that has set us in direct conflict with Russia. All right? That's how powerful America is. Let me read this first. Second chapter. And then
In Psalms chapter 2, verse 1 says, "Why do the heathen rage and the people imagine a vain thing? The kings of the earth set themselves and the rulers take counsel together against the Lord and against his anointed, saying, let us break their bands asunder and cast away their cords from us."
Yeah, the secret. Sorry. Read it again. Yeah.
This is Psalms chapter 2, verse 1. "Why do the heathen rage and the people imagine a vain thing? The kings of the earth set themselves and the rulers take counsel together against the Lord and against his anointed, saying, let us break their bands asunder and cast away their cords from us."
Yeah, you take counsel together.
Yep.
You take counsel together. So you got the different European powers in America, mainly. Well, and you got and Russia too, because they agree on certain things, but then they disagree. Like they'll agree on, like, let's say the meaning of icons, right? Or the power of icons. They'll agree. Okay. Or the meaning of icons. You got a book called The Meaning of Icons, right? Meaning of Icons. And I got a book called The Power of Icons. So these devils are still trying to figure out what these icons mean. Like they're all dark images, but they're trying to figure out, why they draw them like that. Right? Why did they draw? So Russia, they agree on that. In America, they agree on that. Different European powers agree on that. We don't know why they're dark. Matter of fact, we're not even going to tell you that they're dark. We're just going to profit off the book they're going to sell. So they made a little profit off the book. But then they suppress it in the mainstream news.
Yep.
The mainstream history, they suppress it. Like these dark images don't exist.
Right.
All right? But on other things, they disagree. Like how the NATO expansion, they disagree on that. Like you can't put your missiles, which they pointed on Russia. They actually pointed at Russia. That's the thing. The reason why NATO exists is a front against Russia, not against Germany. The Nazis are all gone. Well, the German Nazis ran by the government are gone, but they still have different independent, Nazis in Ukraine and in Germany.
Yep.
All right, because being a Nazi is not like illegal or anything like that, but you can't say certain things in Germany. Like if you deny the Holocaust in Germany, you'll get arrested. So that's a crime. I don't know what the time you get for it, but you can't say that. You can't deny the Holocaust. All right. So that should be. Well, they don't have a constitution like America. freedom of speech and all that. But once you leave America, the laws they change. They're different. Like in Britain, you have no right to bear arms. Canada, I don't think you have a right to bear arms either. You know, and different European countries, I don't think you have the right to bear arms either. So when you leave America, you know, you got a lot of. That's how it makes sense for the truth to spring out in abundance in Babylon, America. You know, because you got certain freedoms here that you don't have in other places. All right. And this has happened to be the location that the Lord punished Israel together, the southern kingdom and northern kingdom together. We all suffered here in the new, so-called New World. All right. So they take that counsel together against our people. All right. So they agree on certain parts, and on other parts they disagree. All right. Like on the position of those missiles, they disagree on that. Oil coming in. So you know what it is? Kind of a theater. It's kind of a game. You know about the they supplying oil, like Germany, for instance, in the middle. They supplying oil to and gas through Germany, but yet, you know, the Germans are sending weapons to help Ukraine.
So it's like you
conflict.
But they all Biden, Trump to this guy Vladimir Putin, they all are in accordance with this guy Klaus from the World Economic Forum.
Yep. And
they agree.
They're all in agreement because remember they're all gonna be a part. Right. Because remember the Lord said in Revelation the 13th chapter that all were gonna be tried by the mark, right?
Right.
And that's why you actually have that. You've been had that technology in Russia. All right.
That's
I
why
remember when we were doing a slew of videos, especially this brother when we were going into the MOTB. And you were one of the first ones to bring out the article with the digital tags or tattoos that you could put on your. I came across an article where Russia was already using implants for people to board public transportation. So they already had that technology for a while.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because it's going to evolve. You know, tattoos. You know, that just that's kind of a non-invasive or non-intrusive way to get the electronic tag on your body, but soon, you know, it's going to have to be in your flesh. It's going to evolve. It's going to evolve.
Right. Now, remember, you got to understand that there's going to be something. The Lord going to cause particular events that are going to cause inward fighting. The point is that they're all together in on this.
Yeah, they agree.
They agree to a certain point, but remember, Esau is proud. He's greedy. He's narcissistic.
And they're all Edomites.
Russian, right?
Ukrainian.
Right.
They racist Nazi. Edomites.
Right. They're all Edomites. So there's going to be, a dispute between them, and among them that's going because the Lord said He's going to cause them hooks to go into them jaws and turn back. So up to a certain point, they're in agreement, right? They're moving towards that intended result. Because remember, this inflation we're seeing is affecting basically the global economy. It's a global thing. It's the global market, right? It's being impacted. It's not unique to America, or because like right now. They're saying that Ukraine's suffering so bad. I don't know if they came up with a full bill yet, but they were talking about raising $10 billion to send over to Ukraine for relief.
Yeah. No, like any oil refinery shut down or.
No, and then the interesting thing is you put all these sanctions on a supposed enemy, but then you're over here buying billions of dollars worth of their oil. Still. So it just goes to show you they're all in agreement.
Right. Yeah.
Behind the scenes.
Yeah.
For now.
Yeah. And it got to be inflation. That's a theory that I agree with because I don't think any oil refineries shut down. We haven't had any problems with oil being produced because supply and demand. So if supply goes down,
the only ones that are producing oil right now is America.
Yeah.
Because they shut them down for now.
Yeah. So if
they're outsourcing their oil.
Right. So if the supply go down, then I mean the price goes up. Right. So the supply, to my knowledge, it didn't go down. Everything's business as usual, but the price is still going up.
Still going up.
So it got to be inflation.
Right.
It got to be inflation. Demand didn't go up.
Right.
So I see if demand goes up, okay, I got to raise the prices so I can make more money. All right. Remember, they choose to do this. They don't have to do it.
Right.
This is something they choose to do it. It's the supply and demand thing. They choose to do it. So when the supply goes down, they got to charge. They charge more. So they get more money because
What do you mean less when it goes down? When it goes
when the supply goes down.
Right.
They raise the price.
Okay.
Yeah. But when the supply goes up, they reduce the price.
Right.
All right, this is
That's
something
right.
that they choose to do.
Yep.
All right, so the supplies, to my knowledge, didn't go down. It's the same amount of oil being produced as it was before, but the price is still going up.
Now you know Luke oil is a Russian brand, right? Yeah, and that actually the stock of Luke oil plummeted like it's at 91% from its initial stock. So we went from I was at $78 a share down to $6.96 a share.
Hey, you might want to jump on that.
And yeah, right. And they actually said that Luke Oil is reaching out and basically saying like, look, stop the war because they are being affected by it because ain't nobody fucking with them like that now. So so-called investors pulled out, right? The fucking stock's down, right? On top of that, no one's shopping there, right? They're gonna get gas in other places, right?
Yeah, I'll still go gas there, but it's very little of them, still
Around,
there.
yeah.
But I know a couple of them now, but I'll still get gas there if it's around. But I don't know any available. Gas right now, you read
That's
that?
going to affect small businesses too, because they're not going to be able to afford those costs. Like you had one Jake, I forget where he was at. I think it might have been I think he might have been from LA. He said, I want to get out my car and slap somebody because I'm over here. I can't even do DoorDash. Any money I make, I'm putting it right in my tank. Gas prices out there is well over $5.
New York, they got them electric bikes. Brooklyn.
So a lot of these different, jobs that they're going to diminish quite quickly. And that's, we've seen that happen in the pandemic, These different independently owned business could not adapt quick enough, and they went under. So
yeah. Well, the smart ones, they adapted and they had plans together and they changed it. And, but if you got caught off guard and you were stubborn,
right,
and you got fucked up.
And you just took as soon as they said, listen, if you're non-essential, you didn't really fight back. And
yeah, I mean, it's things you could have did, but sometimes everybody don't have the same information.
Right.
And they trying to act too late, and they think things that not going to happen, and they are.
Right.
There's uncertainty. So, what some smart people did with the restaurants was just create maybe a website and do everything takeout. Just kind of not saying that that's going to save the business guaranteed, but that's something that certain restaurants could have did.
Right.
Set up a kind of a little lobby area. Maybe by appointment only. Something like
people,
that,
what really helped hurt these people was when they were telling them, listen, if you were in a certain area where there was a hot spot for this thing, you have to quarantine, or you can't be in this area. So people weren't really going out. I can remember a time where I could zoom down 95, 76, 476, and not have to worry about sitting in fucking traffic for 20 minutes, 30 minutes. Now it's old. Now it's even more congested than pre-pandemic.
Yeah, everybody driving crazy.
And everybody losing their mind.
Right, man.
I remember Manhattan going through Holland Tunnel. It was no traffic during rush hour.
Right.
I remember just going straight through.
Right.
No problem back then.
Right.
Like 3 o'clock. Just going through.
And remember when the apostles, when they were doing little in transits, he was cruising around. The apostles and those were cruising around. And they were showing how everything was boarded up, but they would just go, able to go right through with no problems.
That was an experiment.
Right.
You all doing an experiment.
Right. Right. But anyway, I just wanted to highlight the implications of this basically hyperinflation. It's going to hit a lot of people. It's going to hit them hard, and we're going to see, what we saw, during the start and the middle of these pandemics. But businesses are going to go under. People are going to feel the pinch. It's going to cause them to have to, reassess how they're spending. Right. Cut certain things out of their lives. Right. So this is, we're moving into the next crisis, basically. As mandates are being taken away and no longer requiring masks and proof of, your so-called status. Now we move into the next, the next event. It's going to be a lot bigger, a lot greater.
What did you
Revelation 13, verse 11. And I beheld another beast coming out of the earth, and he had 2 horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon.
Yeah, that's America, right? With the 2 horns, like a lamb, which is the different political parties in America.
Right. Because ancient Rome had the plebeians and the patricians. That's your ancient 2-party system, Roman system. Today you have your Republicans, Democrats.
Read it again.
Revelation 13, verse 11. And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had 2 horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon.
Right? And spake as a dragon.
Right.
Right? So, in other words, too, America adopts all the customs of the ancient Rome.
That's
When you look up marriage, all right, monogamy, that came from Rome. It came from Rome. Monogamy. Before then, it was men, elite men, especially elite men, would take more than one wife.
Right.
The Romans
Polygamy, yeah.
were the ones that said, you can only be married to one woman.
Right.
But you still have, concubines and whores and harlots and little boys or whatever. Pederasty, they practice that.
Right.
They, but you can only legally be married to one woman. Right? Now, another thing, the wedding ceremonies. Where did that come from? It comes from the Roman Empire also. Ancient Rome. The wedding cake, which was it started out as just one cake, all right, and then modernly they decked the cakes on top, all right. That the cake, cutting the cake, eating the cake for a wedding, that came directly from Rome, all right. So when you worship, you get married and get a marriage license. When you get a marriage license, you get the cake, and you had a ceremony. You participate in the ancient Roman custom. All right, you can look that up yourself. It's right there on Wikipedia.
You read?
No, I think that was it. Where the hell did Bruce come out? All right, matter of fact, you can get to 16, 15.
Revelation 13, verse 15. And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed.
Yep. What?
Verse 16, and he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads.
Right. So that mark is the implant. All right, it's the implant. It's not Christianity or an embargo or whatever. It's an electronic device. That's what the mark is. All right. And if you don't take the mark, that mark, you're going to be killed. It says killed. So Esau going to have some type of program set up where you're going to be deemed, I guess, not fit to, or unsafe for the community. You're going to come up with some slick, bureaucracy or some slick ass law that says you're some type of danger.
Right. Yeah, because
to the community or to whatever area that you're going to be in. And they're gonna kill you.
I was just gonna make a comment on. I think when you brothers sent how Esau was going after the children, but the billboard read basically about being a hero for the community.
Yeah.
So essentially, if they're proposing the idea that you're a hero, if you step up and take what they're telling you to take, then the opposite is you're an anti-hero. You the villain now. You're the enemy, right? And that's the way Esau speaks. That's that bold dragon speaking. Which, the word dragon could also represent wisdom on the left. Because that's what he's doing. He's conjuring up these ideas. How many people, if you around them, you're too close to them, they get offended, they're looking at you crazy, you're not wearing the mask. And the thing of it is, I was talking to this brother on the way up, the effects of what they've been pushing for all this time is gonna stay. So even though it's not gonna be required to do these things, people are still gonna be wearing the shit, right? They're conditioned now to believe they got to do this all the time, and their mind is not going to change. They've totally been conditioned and programmed to believe that they're always in danger. You're going to see people still wearing 2 masks, spraying their hands with the Purell or whatever. So just backing up the brother's point, you best believe so going to enchant these people's, enchant the people, soothsay them into believing, look, you got to get it, and then the people who don't get it, they're the enemy.
Yeah, it's always talking
Remember,
about
rinse, recycle, repeat. It's the same thing over and over. It's just, fashioned differently. That's all.
Yeah, Esau going back to how it used to be. They're going back to that you could be executed for breaking certain laws in the ancient world. Right? So you're going to get to a point where, I guess you could say, America and the different countries are going to devolve, from what they say is democracy to Well, they probably still say it's a democracy. Esau's forked tongue. They say, well, we can do this under a democracy.
Right.
Yeah, like I said, democracy don't mean they're good. That's what democracy don't mean that.
Well, democracy is listen. Democracy is. I'll take a quote from Aaron Russo. Democracy is when 51% of the people rules the 49%.
Yeah, there you go. That don't mean that this is a righteous nation because you say you're a democracy or even a republic. All right, because you can be you can have laws that say if you don't take the implant, you get executed. All right? And you can be a democracy. You can vote for that. All right? Or you can have your lawmakers enact that and make it into law.
Right.
All right.
Like a lot of
being a democracy or a republic.
Right. Yep. Yeah, a lot of people follow Esau's numbers, They said that after his press conference or State of the Union address, his approval ratings went up 47%. So if they basically create the illusion that the majority of the people, they want this, right? Because he's going to put people in a position where they want it anyway. Problem, reaction, solutions. So they are going to devise it in a way where people are going to be asking for relief. Same thing that they did. Again, we have this experiment that they've done as a reference point. Okay? We have this as a reference point. So a lot of people were asking the people who didn't believe in putting foreign objects into their body to take it because it's for the better of the community. What's wrong with you? Why don't they want to be done with this already? They want this to be over? Yeah. Putting pressure on those who didn't, want to put that into the system, right? And now they're the ones who took it and lined up to get it. Guess what? They're the fools now because now they don't even require it. It's done now.
Yeah, I mean, the summary executions say if you don't take the chip, you could be killed.
Right.
They could inject you with something to kill you. You might not necessarily have to cut your head off or shoot you. They could just put you in a camp and then inject everybody with something, and they just die. And they just put them in right into the coffin and burn their bodies or whatever to prevent spreading of disease.
Right. Yeah, but ultimately, just like you're saying, they're going to force it. They're going to mandate it. They're going. There's not going to be a negotiation. It's not going to be you don't want to do this. They're going to propose it to. If you say no, then they're going to rip you up and
euthanize you.
Right. Put you in a re-education center. Try to reprogram you. Esau loves doing that shit. Don't you understand? That's why he has an MK Ultra. And, all these different experimentation operations, man. He likes to do that to people. He likes to sit them down and work on their minds and put all types of drugs in their system and, re-educate them. The whole movie 1984 was about. Esau gets off on that. And he has concentration camps and re-education centers all lined up for those times. Things he can make use of you, and you tell him, no, I'm not taking that digital, I'm not taking that MOTV. He's going to grip you up and torture you until you comply.
Yeah, I mean, I remember,
for those that who are not of the elect, I'm saying.
Yeah, because Esau, he likes euthanizing, putting animals down. And
right. I
remember when Issachar was coming over here a while ago. I forgot when it was happening. They would say like the Issacharites are dirty or something like that, and they would wash them down with like this oil. It's really fucking disgusting. Say again? It was fuel? Yes, you know about it. Yeah, so they actually did this shit. They would bring the Mexicans in, I guess, to work in the fields or whatever, and they would spray them down with this fucking oil. It's fucking disgusting. Which I don't understand. If you thought they were dirty, why didn't you just put them like soap and water or but Esau, and that shows you that Esau's a super racist.
Right.
Esau's a super fucking racist. And they were coming here to which is really their land anyway, but they were coming here to work in the fields, and they would spray them down with this fucking oil. And I think that shit caused cancer too, if, whatever kind of oil it was. But that shows you that Esau, he loves experimenting on you.
Yeah.
Right? Yes. And he'll go to any lengths to get order.
Right.
So if it's to euthanize you,
Right.
That's how you're gonna get that order. But somehow, some way, Esau gonna put you to death for not taking that implant.
Yep.
Right? Whether it's violently or whether it's so-called humane.
Right.
Whatever's, I guess, more efficient. Well, Esau's a crazy man.
Right.
So it might be both.
Exactly.
It might be the little of both.
Right.
He might, like 50,000, he might inject with some drug to kill him. Another 100,000, he might just do a summary execution, one bullet each.
Right.
Or do it like they do the sheep with that little that gun that blow their brains out. It's like it's thing they put on the side of the sheep head and then pop and it go into the brain and kill them. That's how they actually do it. Yeah, for the cattle and the livestock. It's just like one second.
They say it's quick because it's faster, so it's more humane, I guess.
Yeah, Esau might do that.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, we'll chop your head off. You know? I guess whatever more efficient. But Esau, since he's a crazy madman, he'll probably mix it up.
Right.
So.
But we are going to see summary executions and that guillotine coming back for sure.
Anybody got any other precepts?
That's a while.
Yeah, go ahead.
Job 15 and 35.
Huh?
They conceive mischief
Yep.
and bring forth vanity, and their belly prepareth deceit.
Yep, they conceive mischief. Read it again.
It's Job 15 and 35. They conceive mischief and bring forth vanity,
Yep.
and their belly prepareth deceit.
Yeah, so everything that we were talking about, that's the same thing Esau doing, but he actually had the power to put it into play.
Right.
So he's trying to figure out how you're gonna kill a bunch of people. It was Obsolete Man, Twilight Zone episode, it was black and white. He was telling you how they burnt all the books.
Right. Yeah.
And he put to death, I think, 20,000 or something like that within like 16 hours. But remember, to kill a lot of people, it takes a long time. So I don't think a gunshot, I don't think that's sufficient to shoot people with guns. I think that's kind of inefficient.
Right.
So if you want to put to death a lot of people a lot of time, it makes more sense to maybe gas or or disease or type of injection.
And Esau accounts for that because he knows that there is going to be a rebellion. He knows that there's going to be even as the scriptures say, that there's going to be an insurrection, right?
Yeah.
It's going to be an insurrection. So people are going to stand up. People are going to, come against the idea of an implant being put in them, whether it's law or not.
Right.
So he accounts for that. So he got his bullets lined up. He got his weaponry, his drones, and whatever other capabilities he's going to use during that time, because a lot of people are just going to be disposable.
Yeah. But they establishing a new world order.
Yeah.
So this new world order is not going to be brought about by peace.
Right.
It's going to be brought about by violence, a lot of violence.
And that's this man.
And that's Esau.
Yeah.
That's
Good point.
so, showing his horns. The elders always used to say that use that expression, showing his horns. The countenance that he got now is going to change. It's going to be more violent.
Yep.
Like a police officer locking you up, and you're not resisting, and he's beating the shit out of you, saying stop. He's yelling stop resisting, and you're not even resisting.
Right.
That's how the coming in this new system going to come. It's going to come through a lot of violence. A lot of violence. Because they got the impression that civilized governments are peaceful. Like the Western governments are peaceful. They're non-violent. They're governed by laws and a constitution and codes, and they have a code of conduct. Like they say on police cars, honor, respect, integrity. Yeah, how the police, Philadelphia, New York cops say on their cars and everything.
I think it was Apostle Reuben was saying, about basically Esau has what you call peacekeeping officers or peacekeeping soldiers. Yeah. But that's the oxymoron.
They literally designed to be violent.
Right. Peace through violence, I guess.
Yeah.
But then that's not really peace.
Well, Antiochus Antiochus, he said that, right? Well, he made that it was he came in that spirit. By peace he destroyed many. So that's the same spirit Esau got today. Right. Same spirit. By peace he shall destroy many. You can't say he came in peace. That's how he came to America too. By peace he destroyed. That's his spirit. That's within his spirit to do that. He did it back then, and he's doing the same thing now.
Right. But that's why the scriptures also tell you that the tender mercies, right, of the wicked are cruel. So his idea of mercy,
like Issachar coming to America to work.
Right.
That was mercy. We allowing you to come to work in the fields.
Right.
All right. So we don't walk again with some damn oil.
Like in the movie.
Diseases and all that shit, apparently.
When a Thanos hijacked the ship that Thor was on, he had his representative, I forget his name, and he said that basically them being put to death was a form of mercy.
Yeah, he does that eugenics, whatever.
It's a form of mercy. Even in your death, you are children of Thanos.
He said that.
Yeah.
Then he got old and retired to a farm to, I guess, pick the fresh fruit from the fields or whatever, make tea.
But just illustrating that this man's idea of peace is basically by, beating you into that idea of his peace. It's not by actually using genuine peaceful means to acquire that end. Hence the tender mercies of this man is cruel. Mercy is supposed to be where you actually have a sense of compassion, forgetfulness. But his idea is to tell you that, but then to put you to death, torture you, make you feel pain.
Yeah, and they may say it in the name of experiments or to better you, to make you better. They showed that in V for Vendetta.
Right.
They had people that had the scientists came in and brought the people that had like this disabilities.
They did that.
And they was injecting them with stuff. They had them locked up in different rooms.
1984 is a movie that comes to mind too, when they had him on that damn.
That's a remake of that 1984.
Okay, Con. Yeah, when they have on a thing, they're trying to convince. It was for his better good. You were going off, man. You went and laid down with that woman. Didn't we tell you that was illegal?
Yeah, they actually tricked him too.
Yeah.
The room that he let him use was actually the state owned that room, and they were trying to catch sex offenders and thought offenders, people that actually have sex that wasn't supposed to have sex.
Right.
They actually caught them. That was a room that was owned by the state.
Right.
So
Got to go back and rewatch that.
Yeah, and they had
this man's
they had sex in there. They recorded it and everything.
Yep, that's
and
right.
Then
that's
right when they were finished, the forces rolled on them.
Right.
And arrested them.
Yeah. That's man. Oh my tongue, but yeah, man, that's a sick mindset of the devil, man.
It's a long movie and it's kind of depressing, so.
Yeah, but it does give you insight onto this man's way of thinking. There's a lot of truths, but there's a lot of parallels, that you can get from it. The things that you see now is really illustrated in that movie.
Yeah, well, he said, V for Vendetta, it's a kind of a better made movie in my opinion, V for Vendetta.
Okay.
But in 1984.
But if brothers haven't
said,
seen either slide, if brothers haven't seen, you go see them both.
Yeah. In 1984, he said, "You want a vision of the future? Imagine a boot stomping on the face forever."
Damn,
that's what he said
yeah.
In 1984. So that's what it was. So
Yep.
once they got everything, well, in the movie, in Avengers Endgame, I think it was, or was that when he retired, he went back to his farm, and everything was peaceful.
Right.
And he conquered everything.
Right.
That's why he said Esau wants you to imagine that's how it's going to be. After he conquered everything, then we shall have peace.
Right.
Well, he said it on
Well, remember,
on Star Wars too.
Right.
Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah, he thinks he's the Most High, because he know that the Most High is going to kill a lot of people, right? But he trying to do it his way.
Right.
That's the thing. He put himself in that stead, right? He said it in the temple of the Most High,
Yep.
right?
Claiming himself to beat him.
Claiming himself to be the Most High, essentially.
Well, if I get that.
Because the Lord said, he would come in to slay many. So, but Esau trying to recreate the earth in his image rather than the Most High's image.
Yeah, exactly.
He keep repeating in these movies.
Yeah,
too,
Esau is trying to make the population of his accord, right?
Right.
Then to put a bold claim to maintain population of 500 million,
Right.
as if he has control over life and death.
Exactly.
That's wrong, man. The Most High
Right.
is in the hands of life and death. All right, the scriptures talk about that.
The Most High, to the Most High belong the issues of the
death. Yep. And it says, I form the light, I create evil, right?
Right.
I wound, I kill, I make alive. But Esau thinks that he can control, how many souls are here on this earth. That's why he says, I'm maintaining a population of 500 million. But, he don't have that type of authority. He don't have that type of control. The Most High does.
Right, yeah. In the movie, I believe it was Revenge of the Sith, I believe Darth Sidious, which was Supreme Chancellor Palpatine, he said, after we kill all the Jedi, then we should have peace. Roughly paraphrasing.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
But the Jedi had to all get slaughtered, and then they got scattered. Now that's really like Judah, all Israel, getting going into slavery.
Right,
That's what that represented, and being scattered throughout the earth. And that's what happened to the Jedi. They got Anakin, went and killed all the babies and all the Jedi, and the rest of the Jedi just scattered throughout the universe.
Right.
And the thing too is, Israel's like as a sand of the sea. So if you can maintain the whole population under a certain bit, it don't matter how many Israelites are out there because they can easily control them, right? It's a lot easier to control. So that form of quote unquote peace is a little bit easier to manage because it's under Esau's rule, Esau's authority. And that's ultimately what Esau wants. He wants ultimate power, ultimate authority, under only a couple souls.
Well, we read that in Psalms too. His main objective is to cut the cords and the bands asunder of the Israelites.
Yep.
He focuses on the Israelites because we are his greatest enemy and threat.
That's right.
But come with the precept.
Isaiah 32:5. The vile person shall be no more called liberal, nor the churler said to be bountiful. Verse 6. The vile person shall speak violently, and his heart will villainly, and his heart will work iniquity to practice hypocrisy.
Against the Lord, he said the vile person shall speak villainy, and that vile person is definitely the Edomites. What chapter, verse, what book?
This is Isaiah 32:5.
Isaiah 32. Yeah, the vile person shall speak villainy. All right? And Esau, he's the original criminal.
Yeah.
He's the original bad man that can do a lot of evil amongst different nations. Because before Esau, that type of evil couldn't have been done. Give me Maccabees, where it says Maccabees or Ezra. Evil against multiply.
First Maccabees.
Yeah, so before Esau, evil couldn't go throughout the earth like that. Esau was the first nation where evil spread like that. Was it the vile person? So read the verse again.
It's Isaiah 32:5. The vile person shall be no more called liberal, nor the churler said to be bountiful. Verse 6. The vile person shall speak villainly, and his heart will work iniquity to practice hypocrisy and to utter error against the Lord, to make empty the soul of the hungry, and he will cause the drink of the thirst to fail.
All right, so that's Esau practicing his mercy, which is killing and putting the Lord and the other nations in straits.
Right.
All right, but it said against the Lord, so that's against his people. All right, against the Israelites. So practicing that villainy, that vile behavior, is starving out the Israelites, taking their resources. Right, and eventually, when these camps are set up, the elect are going to get starved out. But that's why the Lord had to come in and give us what Esau taken from us.
Yeah.
So any resources that Esau taken from us, the Lord going to replace.
There's a little bit more.
Yeah, go ahead.
Verse 7. It's Isaiah 32:7. The instruments also of the churler are evil. He deviseth wicked devices to destroy the poor with lying words, even when the needy speaketh right.
All right, so he said the devices were evil, right? And he devises different instruments to destroy the poor and needy.
Yep.
The Israelites. So, I mean, that's got to be talking about the Edomites.
Yeah, exactly. And if I may say too, it says with lying, it said with lying words, right? It just said destroy. So, it said destroying the poor with lying words, right? Yeah, con. So like the way they do that is by saying that we ain't nothing, we nothing but a bunch of niggas and spicks, right? Wetbacks, like we basically don't amount to nothing. Which is lying words instead of telling us.
No history.
Yeah, we got no history. Yeah,
Our
exactly.
history started here.
Yep.
All the icons is all Edomites.
Yep,
So-called
yep.
white people, all the composers are all Edomites.
Mhm.
Telling
Everybody
us.
that look white really is white.
Yep. Yeah, we're already a broken people, but they continue to keep us down by lying to us, right? By lying that we ain't shit, right? That's what
Teaching that's equality under white supremacy.
Yep.
White supremacists. That's a huge one.
Yeah.
Teaching
Everybody
us
equal,
equality
but-
under white
yeah,
supremacy.
but everybody, but we
Yep.
in an Edomite supremacist nation.
Right.
Everything is Edomite. Every great person is an Edomite.
Yeah,
The greatest inventor that
Yep.
ever lived was Thomas Edison.
Yep. All the-
So we got to eat that. But anything we bring up that our
Yeah,
culture
right.
or
And all the most important decisions that are being made are being done by Edomites.
yeah.
The head of NATO, Edomite. The ones that sit on these security councils, Edomites. They're all fucking Edomites.
If they're not an Edomite, then they're shills
Right.
for Edomite.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
But most of them are Edomites.
Yep.
Yeah. Right.
Then you got the Arabs, you know. You got some of them are fucking Edomites.
Right, exactly.
I be seeing some of them kings and princes. They be like, why do they look like fucking Edomites?
Right.
Shouldn't they be like kind of dark?
Right.
You know?
Like the current the current oh man, I forget his damn name. He's was it supposed to be an East Indian?
Who?
The
president or
the general, a U.S. general,
okay.
Surgeon General, U.S. Surgeon General.
Okay, yeah.
He's supposed to be like an East Indian, right?
Yeah, Edomite.
Yeah, but he an Edomite, right?
Yeah,
In my personal opinion, that dude's a fucking
Edomite?
Edomite, man. He's a fucking Edomite.
Worm,
Yeah. I was just using him as an example.
Yeah, he
What
could
you were
be
saying. I believe he fucking
Shots
is
of
a,
cover, Edomite.
yeah. I could be wrong. It's my opinion in the spirit.
He definitely.
But he's still definitely a shill for Esau.
Sure,
You know?
fucking weasel.
Yeah, U.S. Surgeon General. US
Oh,
Surgeon
okay.
General.
Oh yeah, I know he's like, he's like with the face.
No, he a Jake though. No, it's one that's an Elamite and one
No,
that's
the
Judite.
one that was before him was the Jake.
Okay.
The list.
Oh, so now that Elamite's on there now. Okay.
Yeah,
all right.
yeah.
Oh, that's him.
Yeah.
Time period mixed up. Okay. So the Jake is not in power.
No.
All right. Was you got a precept you bring up?
Yeah, but he had the first one. I'll bring out the second one too.
Go ahead.
Psalm 58:3. The wicked.
No, that wasn't it. Maccabees. Yeah, Salakia, brother.
This first Maccabees chapter 1 verse 9. It says, and after his death they all put crowns upon themselves. So did their sons after them many years, and evils were multiplied in the earth.
Yeah. Evil spread in what in Egypt differently than it was before.
Oh, yeah, I was just
on
on
that
That's
scale.
U.S. Surgeon.
Right? Before you had
came up.
before the Arabs got in there, you had Egyptians. You had actual Egyptians that were of the stock of Cush, Montezarion. Right? And then when Esau got into Egypt, Esau got anointed to be Pharaoh in Egypt, and he became the Pharaoh. And they set up their own gods. They set up Serapis Christus in Egypt.
Right.
Right? So he was. They multiplied, because that cult worship spread throughout the area. Right? And then they started to conquer, and then the Romans conquered well, they didn't really conquer them, but they kind of absorbed themselves into the Roman Empire. Well, they got absorbed into the Roman Empire, the Greeks. There were a few skirmishes, but I believe there was one not a war, but the Romans were getting mad about the wars that they were fighting between themselves. And I think a Roman general came down there and said, if you cross this line, you're going to declare war on the Ptolemaic part of the empire. And they didn't cross that line. But they got absorbed into the Edomite Greeks got absorbed into the Edomite Roman Empire.
That's sort of like what's happening in Ukraine. If you come past this line with your soldiers, we're going.
Yeah, well, yeah, with the NATO, what's the NATO saying? Yeah. If they cross into Poland, then that would be a direct act of war. But they probably wouldn't even do that then, I think, even if they were to shoot a missile into Poland. Well, they can't anyway. It would be, that would be.
Yeah.
the problem.
And remember,
NATO
because you mentioned Serapis Christus, that was really based off of Ptolemy Soter's first son. The word Soter means savior. He set up his son basically as the new savior. Now the Israelites worshipped him. It's like they worship the Edomite today. They worship that image of
They did it
Caesar
in
Borgia, which goes
Egypt.
back to Serapis Christus. Exactly. Yep.
In Egypt. That's
Yep.
where the cult first started.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
Ptolemaic.
Ptolemaic, right.
Not Ptolemy.
No P.
Some
I made that
Jakes-
mistake in the
Jakes
past.
say that. Say
Yeah.
Ptolemy.
I used to do it.
When I first learned that in like years, like when I was
Ptolemy.
into the Egyptology thing, I heard that the dude that was teaching me was like Ptolemy. Well, I agreed with him. Then I
Right.
looked it up and it said Ptolemy.
Ptolemy,
Come on,
right.
man,
Yep. Ptolemaic.
Right.
Ptolemy Soter, right. Yep. And he was one of Alexander's 4 generals. Which Alexander had more than 4.
Yeah.
But he had 4 primary generals, okay? And Ptolemy was a notable one, and so was Seleucus. Okay, did we get the meat and potatoes out of that?
Yeah, the evils multiplied on the earth. Right? Right? So that's when the wicked root started. That was
I
the
got the precept on
foundation. Before that, Esau's power structure didn't really exist in the earth like that. Yeah, it did. Before the Greeks.
Right.
Yeah, that's why Esau says civilization started with the Greeks.
Right.
And that's when the evil, the foundation of evil came about.
Yep, exactly. Yep.
Quick pre on that. I got the precept for this, brother, and then you can read yours, brother, just building it up. This is Proverbs 29:16. When the wicked are multiplied, transgression increaseth. And they
So
were
Esau
multiplied.
came into power.
Yep, exactly.
They multiplied. That's when he started having sex with the women of the other nations. In Egypt, in Greece, and they started to spread their seed throughout.
Right.
Scripture say about they mingling themselves with the seed of man.
God.
And Daniel. Right? That means Esau, literally having sex with the people of the land. That's why people think that Esau is Jeff, and they're not. They might have had sex with a lot of them and produced children, but those children will be Edomites. Right? That's why certain of them Eastern Europeans look a little different than the British Europeans. Some of them look a little Asian, some of them look a little their facial features look a little different, but they mix themselves with the seed and Moab too.
It says when the wicked, it's Proverbs 29:16, when the wicked are multiplied, transgression increaseth. Another word for transgression is wickedness or iniquity, right? Meaning when they came into power, wickedness increased upon the earth. Okay, as they continued their lineage and they spread their power or their rulership and their seed, wickedness permeated the earth. Okay? But the righteous shall see their fall.
Yeah, but the righteous shall see their fall. Yeah, because in the end, remember, we're pilgrims here. In the end, the wicked is going to be destroyed out of the earth. They're going into slavery first, then they're going to be burnt up. The wicked are the Edomites. Right. You said, well, you guys on? You said you want Yeah, read that first. And then
Second Thessalonians 2, verse 3. Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come, except there come a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed.
Falling away meaning that we were going to lose our so-called religion, our faith, our heritage. We're going to forget it and go into slavery. Right? Then there's going to be a time when the Lord is going to raise us back up in our captivity. Go ahead.
And that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition. Verse 4, who opposeth and exalteth himself above all that is called
Son
God.
of perdition are the Edomites. Go ahead.
Verse 4, who opposeth and exalteth himself above all that is called God.
They call themselves Caucasians or white today. Go ahead.
Or that is worship, so that he as God sitteth in the temple of God, showing himself that he is God.
Esau has a God complex. All right, that's why he tries to use the carnal form of that with the drugs, the youth, she called the eugenics, which is kind of a I don't know if oxymoron is a proper term, but it's not a proper word to use because the actual word, I believe, means good living or wellness of living. All right, but Esau uses it to kill people. Eugenics. The word itself doesn't mean what Esau actually performs. I think yeah, good life or good living, something like that. That was it. Yeah. All right, read that again. Third, no man deceive you. Yeah, third verse. Yeah.
Second Thessalonians 2, verse 3. Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come, except there come a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition.
Right there. All right, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition. I mean, perdition means destruction.
Yep, that's correct.
Yeah, destruction. Son of destruction. That's Esau. When he builds up, in order for him to build, he has to destroy a bunch of people. Right? Get into the Greece, he had to kill a bunch of people to stay in power. To get into Rome, he had to kill a bunch of people to stay in power. Right?
He put his particular focus on Israelites too, because when you continue to read in the Maccabees, since it said that wickedness increased, how did it increase? What he did was he caused the Israelites and the surrounding nations to consent to his beliefs, to his religion, which means they went away from the laws. So here it is, he was raised up in the power and he went away from keeping the commandments. That's how transgression increased, or wickedness increased. Okay? Because transgression and wickedness, they're two different words, but they're synonymous. Because how do you commit transgression? You go across the limit or bounds. Well, what would be the bound or the limit? The law. So they weren't keeping the laws, they weren't enacting the laws, they weren't rehearsing the laws, they weren't implementing the laws, and they were causing others to go away from keeping the laws. One of the first things that they did was say that the sons could no longer be circumcised. That's pulling Israel away from the law. That's how wickedness increased, because you're causing the Lord's people to go off, and the rest of the earth to no longer abide under any, standard.
Right, yeah. Then he called made him eat pork?
Right, made him eat pork. Yeah, made him eat pork. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I guess that was the worst,
And you
worst animal, I guess.
Yeah, Salaki. And you had Israelites that were willingly doing that, but then you had others that, were being put to death because they were still trying to keep their customs. But then over time,
Yeah, certain of them just ones that just didn't care.
over time, Israel was broken,
Yeah,
worn down.
Yeah, they were eating the different pork cuts, whatever cuts they had back then, chops or legs or I don't know how they cut it back then. They were eating them.
Right.
Right? And they didn't really care,
Right.
And then if they went down to the ocean or the shore, and they pulled food in, or pulled animals in, the shrimp, crabs, they were selling them in the marketplaces, eating them, frying them, cooking them, roasting them. All right, that's what the heathen were doing.
Calling them delicacies.
Yeah, delicate. Yeah,
Delicacies.
a damn sea roach, a crab, a sea roach,
Right.
a lobster, a damn sea roach, and shrimp. I forget the exact use, but they have a use in the ocean.
A lot of those groups are bottom feeders, where it's basically the natural filter of the ocean.
Yeah, so they started eating them. When you're supposed to, you get fish and then you throw the bad away.
Right.
That's what you're supposed to do, because you never just got exactly what you wanted every time. You see a school of fish,
Right.
they're lawful, whatever, got fins and scales.
Right, yeah.
But you're going to get a bunch of other stuff in there too, so
Right.
you threw it back in.
Exactly.
But Israel just started to take everything to shore and just consume everything. And that would be transgression, the law.
Yep.
By consuming the unlawful foods, pursuing Leviticus 11 chapter.
Yeah, and that's what this man of sin has caused Israel to do, to go off. Remember, he's the accuser. He sets things up for, the snares and the, traps for Jake to fall into, and then turn around and accuse us before the Heavenly Father, telling them, look, your people going off. And this, again, it's a desperate attempt for Esau to retain his blessing and get back the birthright. But the Lord ain't hearing that. See, the Lord sees what's going on. But you know that this man is so proud and so lifted up. As the scriptures say, he thinks that the Most High is such as one as himself. Meaning that the Most High is in accord with what he's doing. But the Most High said that he was going to correct, and put them in order before his eyes. Put who in order? Put the Israelites in order before his eyes. Remember, we are, Esau's biggest threat, because we're being put back in order. The breath has entered into us. That's a basically game over for Esau. Seeing the Israelites being enlightened again. Because he knows that they're going to inherit spiritual power. That's why Esau, he's trying to mind control. He got all these different weapons he intends to use. Right? He got the advantage, as it would seem, for the moment. But the Most High about to undo all of that, man. We can clearly see it. We can clearly see this man's kingdom is fastly falling. Satan being cast down like lightning.
The scripture is still right.
He's really got a preset over here too. I think he's still holding.
To back you up on what you said earlier, this is 1 Samuel 24 and 13. I said the proverbs of the ancients, wickedness proceeded from the wicked. So you can't be expecting anything good out of these people at all. They're the ones that come up with all the crazy stuff. But my hand shall not be upon thee. So we're not the ones that are gonna get punished of anything. We can clearly tell what they do, which is wrong, because it's not going according to the law.
Very simple. It's not hard. You gotta know how to make recipes outside of certain meats. See, Stick to simple fishes and fishes and
Different,
game. I guess game.
But in terms of dietary, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be alien like when you first are being introduced to these concepts because you haven't heard them before, you know? You know, Jake really do believe that the only 3 fucking meats that are available is, you know, poultry, beef, and pork. That's it, you know? So, and then we go to seafood, say lobster and crab leg, you know? All the shit that the Lord don't want you to eat, which you could eat chicken and you could eat beef, but you know, even when you're eating that, you want, you know, scale some of that back. Introduce greens to your diet. Get on some regimens, man. Your body needs it, your gut needs it, your mind, your consciousness, okay?
Yeah, stop shopping and save a lot. Not shop and save a lot.
Buying shit out of a fucking plastic frozen bag all the time, you know? You gotta make meals, man. You gotta get greens, you know, learn how to, you know, cook some Brussels sprouts and, you know, with some good asparagus, you know, cabbage.
Save a lot is a horrible store. They got everything in a package, pretty much.
Right.
I don't know how
Tyson,
it is
bunch
now.
of Tyson chicken,
Shit rotting.
you know. And for brothers who like to, you know, I know brothers be, you know, monitoring what type of eggs they buy, and you know, mostly we buy the brown eggs. But one thing that you want to pay attention to is if they say
Pasture raised.
pasture raised, that's the ones
Those are the best
that's the
ones,
ones you're looking for. Cage free just means that
It's in
they
a
were in a
bigger
confined
cage.
space, but they were not in a cage.
Right. So like a barn.
Right.
They want a bigger cage, bigger area.
Right. Pasture raised means that there was a certain amount of square feet per chicken usually. Those are the better ones. So out of the 3 options, you want to look for pasture raised. Meaning they actually had the ability to roam, and per chicken has a certain amount of space.
Because they're more expensive, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Cage
Yep.
is more expensive than that. $5,
It's more than
Yeah, they
And
can,
free range just means that they spend a little time outside of the rest of the chickens, but it's not enough for them to, you know, live a healthy lifestyle. They be just rotating the chickens out, but that's if the chicken even goes into that area for the space. So pasture, yeah.
Be in an area like this all close and can't move.
Yep.
You know? Yeah, it'd be bad.
You know, but these are things that you gotta learn. You learn to clean up your diet. You know, your diet is linked to gut health. Your gut health is linked to cognitive function. A lot of you jakes are on a low level because your diet is fucked up. Smoking weed, eating all the shit that you shouldn't be eating. You know, then you do, you know, polluting your mind with, you know, smoke. You know, too much alcohol consumption. What else are you consuming? This fucking wicked ass music. You know, all these wicked vibrations and frequencies.
Yep.
Right, which ties into the philosophy, yeah. Because, you know, truth carries a vibration and is on a frequency, same as a lie. And all got, you know, tune into that frequency of truth. But these, you know, going to the dietary law, that's like the beginning stages of things, because the Lord said that the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. So one of the first things you learn how to do is, you know, you grow a beard, start growing your beard, right? Stop lining yourself up. But then you introduce better foods into your diet. Then you start to realize how much clearer minded you are.
You implement fasting with that too.
But it begins with that gift of faith, because you have to have that, you know, belief within you to start implementing these things. It's all about learning it and then applying it. Application is the most important part of this thing, because it doesn't serve you if you have the knowledge, you ain't using it. And that's what Jake want to do. Jake want, every time we meet a Jake, you want to come, you want to spit a little something. This nigga ain't following it. He just want to show off he knows a little something. And then at the time, he don't really know shit. He knows a piece of a whole.
yeah, they want to know some scripture so they can argue with somebody.
Yeah.
I had a brother that asked me about the scripture. I gave him the scripture, but he wanted to argue with somebody. Like, come on. Just waste your fucking time.
Yeah, man.
Man,
That damn debate spirit. We're not in time for no debates. All these things go on. But anyway, bro, go ahead, bros. Whatever scriptures you got. 'Cause we
Psalms
getting ready
50
to
verse
close.
20. Thou citizen speakest against thy brother, thou slanderest thy own mother's son.
That's Jacob, or as Esau speaking against Jacob, 12 tribes of Israel.
Verse 21. These things hast thou done, and I kept silence. Thou thoughtest that I was altogether such as one as thyself, but I will reprove thee and set them in order before thine eyes.
All right, now look up order. Look at the word order. You know, Psalms 50. Whoever got it first.
Psalms 51.
What verse you want?
20.
50 and 20.
20.
Order. Set them in order. It's a good word. It's detailed word. If I'm not mistaken. Set them in order before thine eyes.
Brother, got it?
Yeah.
You got it?
Yeah.
It's I rock.
Yeah, to arrange, set or put or lay in order, to set in array, prepare, order, ordain, handle.
That go back to John 3:16. Cosmos. I mean the same thing. I rock, which means arrange. Arrange. You say adore. It says to tax, to value. All right. To set in place, to complete, compare. To arrange. Go read it again.
To arrange or to set or lay in order, arrange, state in order, set forth, a legal case, set in place.
Yeah, set in place. So I mean that's that's the talking about over. All right, yeah. So that's it. Set them in order before Esau's eyes. So, and that's what we're doing right now. We're being set in the proper order.
Yeah, orderly arranged.
Yeah, orderly arranged. John 3:16. That was it there.
Yep.
I guess we ready to wrap up. You got any last precepts you want to bring out?
I'll make it quick.
Proverbs 10 and 24, the fear of the wicked shall come upon him, but the desire of the righteous shall be granted.
Fear and desire. Yeah, so eventually we're going to get the kingdom, and we're going to get victory over our enemies.
Yeah, I mean, is that it? The last ones? Okay. Well, with that, we hope that the Lord's elect were edified, and we want to give all honor, glory, and praise unto our power. Yahweh, Ba'Shem, Yahushai, Ba'Shem, Rakakadash. Double honors unto the true teachers and leaders in Israel, which are apostles of Great Millstone. Shalom to the hopeful elect. Abba Ball.
Abba Ball.
Shalom.
Shalom.
All right, brothers.